Trollord Games. Join the fray.
How's it going, everybody? Here we are. What? Good God. Well, how's it going, Ultra Magnus? So look what I've got. I've got the box for Memorial Tomb. Pretty happy about it. Good deal. We got video, we got sound, all that stuff. All that's good. Plug this thing up. All right, I found it, Tim. I'm not sure why we're switching off Skype, but but okay. But we're good. Is Chuck here tonight, or is he meandering around? I got no time for that. Things are... how's it going, Great Paper? Almost on time. I launched at 6 o'clock. Well, I did the little video thing. I don't know how long that lasts, so... Oh, you almost made it on time. How's it going, Doris? Yeah, we're doing... There's so much stuff going on right now. For some reason, this happens every time we do this. Every time. We end up, for some reason, a whole bunch of Kickstarter projects come together, get completed simultaneously. So we send Starship Warden, the Memorial Tomb, and the Monster Treasures of Arid, and the boxes all to the printer in the same, like, I don't know, a few days. The boxes went a little earlier. So now we're trying to juggle all of the questions that the printer had and all that. It's just a catastrophe. And in the midst of all of that, this box showed up. The Memorial Tomb and Dungeon Hobby Shop box. I'm very happy with it. It looks very, very good. Yes, very, very happy with it. I need to check a few things, but overall, pretty good. How's it going, Great Babe? Hey, Hardest Reset. There you go. Seal, Grimper, Willie, how's everybody doing? Dorans, glad you all could join us tonight. So, Starship Warden does not come in a box set. However, one of the pledge levels has a box set with it. So you get the book, because the book is just gigantic. You get the book and then the box that will have all the extra stuff in it. And it'll be a box for you to put, notes and dice or whatever the heck you want in there. So there will be a box associated with the Starship Warden, but the Starship Warden itself, most everybody's getting... I shouldn't say that. I think about half of the people are getting the box and about half of them are getting just the book itself. And when it goes into distribution, the box will not be included. The box is really going to be something for the Kickstarter only. We may have it for sale in our shop, but I'm not even 100% certain we're going to do that. We'll have to see. Thank you for the subscription, Epi, and thank you, Obsidian Risk. Very much appreciated. Very, very cool. We're here to jibber jabber about movies and TV shows and whatever, what we normally talk about in our normal AMAs, but we just made a special time for it. Is Little Rock a place to move to? I love Little Rock. I love Arkansas. I'm a huge fan of the state of Arkansas. I wouldn't, if it were me, if I had more choice in the matter, that's not the right way to put it, but if I had my druthers, I suppose is a better way to put it, I would live in another part of the state. But Little Rock is a big town is what it is. It's not a city, it's a big town. Pretty much, I don't know. I like it. I love Arkansas. A lot of water here. Occasional tornado. It gets hotter than crap in August, but I've been to a lot of states across the union, and there's a lot of, every state has its thing, right? Everywhere's got something special, or it's hot, or it's cold, or snow, or hurricanes, or whatever. Sounds like Knoxville. Yeah, it's the South, so I think we're about level. I can get on Interstate 40 and drive right to Knoxville, so we gotta be about level. Though you should be right in the edge of the Blue Ridge. No, the Appalachians? The Appalachians or the Blue Ridge? Appalachians. Can't remember. It's been too long since I stomped around down there. We used to go to shows on the East Coast, bring us through Knoxville. Steve, that granddad comment wasn't towards you. That was a Canadian Nation gamer. There's a line of text above comments that are links to previous comments. Like, there you go. Yeah, I didn't know what. I just tend to roll with everything. I would never refer to you informally. I would use elderly or wizened. Wizened, yeah, there you go. Wizened, we'll go with that. Though it has occurred to my son that I'm 53, I guess. I got 54. I don't know how old. But it occurred to him that I'm not suddenly going to die tomorrow. So I guess that's a plus. That's I guess 53 or 4 or whatever I am isn't the new 1 foot in the grave or something. I don't know. Whatever. I moved to Knoxville from Orlando. Wait, even I can imagine. I've only visited Florida. Never lived there, but I can imagine it's quite different. And you just the terrain alone. I mean, Florida's pretty flat, bottomland, and Knoxville's it's in the mountains, right? I mean, it's right on the edge of the mountains. If it's not in it, no state pass at all. Yeah, it's just the way it is, man. Wherever you're gonna go, you're gonna get cold, you're gonna get wet, you're gonna get hot, sometimes cold. And I think every state says the same thing. On one day it's 30 degrees, and on the next day it's 80 degrees. Yeah, that's weather. It happens. Maybe not Alaska. No, probably Alaska too, I would bet. I bet you it has huge variations. Because we do. I mean, here in Arkansas, we get gigantic variations in temperature. It's nuts. Less mountains, though. I moved to Knoxville from Orlando area. Yeah, so it's right on the edge, I think. Sagely, yeah. We'll go with sagely. I like Sis Grimper. I like all of Tennessee. Really, is a pretty good state. Even Memphis. Memphis has got, it's Memphis, but it's pretty good. It's a cool little city. You're as old as my dad. There you go. I think you're 53. We are the same for a few months. Okay, so there you are. So I guess I'll be 54 come summertime. Climate is what you expect, but the weather is what you get. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's all over the place. So it's, I've lived in Arkansas long enough. I can kind of see the patterns every 4 to 6 years. It's dry for 4 to 6 years, and then it gets really wet for 4 to 6 years, and then it gets really dry for 4 to, it just kind of, and by really dry in Arkansas, it means just a normal amount of rain. We get a lot of rain down here, which is cool. Let's see, it's great. Yeah. Cold. I don't want the cold anymore. Holy crap. We're doing our first giveaway at, what are we doing? Something. I don't know what we're doing. Signed book. We're doing a signed book at 6:15. So in just a few minutes, we're going to be doing a signed book. And I guess that's going to be a raffle, Tim. Is that correct? All things considered, I'd rather be in Hawaii. Maybe open up my own private investigation service, but buy a red Ferrari. That sounds familiar. It must be a dream sequence or something. I lived in Hawaii. I was stationed in Hawaii when I was in the Army, and I loved it. The people were friendly. It was a great place. I love the state. Weather's great, but after about 8-9 months, the weather, it would never change. It was the same weather all the time. I got a little tired of it. I kind of wanted some kind of variance going on. I lived on the Space Coast for a year. Here in Alaska, I had a 100 plus temperature swing one winter. Good Lord. Went from negative 40 to 55. That's awesome. That'll wake you up. That'll keep you moving in the morning. Bog. There you go. Let's see, where are we living on? I see there's a conversation going in there that I'm trying to skip over. Living on someone's estate as well. Oh, there you go. What is that called? Not freeload. What is that? Homesteading. No. What is that? Who was it? Tim? Rick Bass? Rick Bass wrote a couple of books about homesteading out west in Montana. Really good stuff. If you ever can pick up some Rick Bass, I'm not sure he's even out there very much anymore. But need variance in more snow to Arkansas. We've had our quota of snow. About 3 days of snow, and I'm kind of done with it. I like the rain. I like the heat. I like it to get cool, and that's about it. It's like 78 every day in Hawaii with a light sprinkling. Yep, absolutely. It's very funny in Hawaii, and it rains almost the same time every day. And it's not rain. Yeah, it's just this very, very light sprinkle. So we'll see. I don't know. Very cool. So yes, to answer your question, 42, Little Rock's a great place to move to. It's a great state. Now, Arkansas is a poor state. So, the facilities that Arkansas offers, it's kind of a do-it-yourself type of state. Let's put it that way. I love it here. I absolutely love it in Arkansas. I don't think I'll ever live anywhere else. So what movie are we starting off with? Older like Willow or new like The Green Knight? Welcome to Pennsylvania, where it's winter in the morning and spring in the evening. Yeah, there you go. Libby Montana in the Yak Valley. There. Oh, yeah, that's where he did the homesteading. Godzilla. See, now there's a good one. Godzilla versus Kong. I've been watching the previews for that movie. So I'm a huge fan of both of those. I hate the word franchise, but both of those franchises, both of those movie characters, both those icons, whatever you want to call them. Absolutely huge fan of them. And when I was little, Godzilla was the guy for me. I loved Godzilla movies, the comic books, the magazine, all of that stuff. I think there was a cartoon at one point. I can't remember. But I was a huge Godzilla fan. First movie I ever went to see in the movie theaters would have been Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, which would have been like 1975 or 76. I actually got so terrified. I was about 6 or 8 or 10. I got so terrified that I went outside, got on the payphone, and called my dad to come pick me up. And he said, if he comes and picks me up, that's it. I don't get to go to more movies. So I went back in there and weathered it. But a huge Godzilla fan. And then later in life, I became, not much later, like 15 or so, I started becoming a huge fan of King Kong, and I love King Kong because it's that last gasp of the primordial world against the industrial world, and I love it. And that's kind of what King Kong represents for me. So the story of King Kong, I think, is it's just a fantastic story. So now that they've done, what did they do? They did Kong Island to gear King Kong up, because he's really not as big as Godzilla. Godzilla's a lot bigger than King Kong. So they made Kong bigger, I suppose, on Kong Island, and now the two are going to battle it out. So I've been watching these previews, and they look pretty cool. They look pretty badass. But I'm going to go with Kong, man. Kong's got to win. He's a primate, right? And Godzilla at the end of the day is just a lizard. So he's a big lizard, but there you go. He just says those things because he knows he can't verify or have any. I'm not sure. Stephen, have you guys ever considered on expanding the merch platform? Yes, actually, that is in the works. It's been in the works for a while. I'm not sure where we are. I know it's close to launch, and I keep saying that every week. But I've seen the page. It's going to be through Noble Dwarf. I've seen the page. A lot of stuff is up there. But I actually haven't seen the launch. It might be as early as this week, so very, very soon. And there's other things I want to get back into stock. I want to get some of those mugs into stock and whatnot. King Kong is one of the only monsters to ever defeat Godzilla during the original run in King Kong vs. Godzilla in 1962. Yeah, even then, I mean, you're stretching the whole thing, because King Kong is not that big. He's big, but he's bigger than Mighty Joe Young, but he's not that big. It's also the first film to feature either monster in color. Oh, that's cool. I vaguely remember that. I know I would have watched it at some point on a Saturday morning, Saturday at the movies or whatever. But I don't really remember much about it. I really don't remember anything about it. I was about to say there were some high line wires, but I think that's in every Godzilla movie. He's always knocking those things over. The Japanese village should bury their power lines, so Godzilla was just stop knocking those damn things over. How's it going, Clever? Favorite Godzilla enemy? Well, it's got to be that three-headed guy. Ghidorah. That's Ghidorah, right? I love that. I love the whole dragon thing. I absolutely loved I love that sequence. That was badass. It would be fun to run a game with the gargantuan monster battle happening in the background. Then when players are too high level, they take on monsters. That'd be cool. I got a table full of them. Think they can take on just about anything. You can have some if you like. Hey, as blah, blah, blah. King Kong 2010-ish was inspirational for RPGs. That's the one. That's the Peter Jackson film. I really liked that one. That's actually, ironically, weirdly, that's one of the last arguments that Gary and I had, Gary Gygax. We were sitting in his living room after Winter Dark, and we were discussing King Kong, and he did not like the remake, the Peter Jackson movie. And I loved it. I really liked it. I'm a huge fan of Jack Black, and I can't remember the girl's name now that was in that. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was cool. A little bit over the top on some of it, but the dinosaur thing, I didn't care for that sequence so much with the dinosaurs falling off the cliff and all that stuff. But overall, it's a very good movie. Really, really enjoyed that. Damn it. I have swallowed water wrong. That's what I get for drinking water. Anything in particular you're excited about with GaryCon coming up? Just the gaming, just, I love GaryCon. I love hanging out over there, and I miss the show like crazy. We've been going since the beginning. But the virtual is a nice swoop in to keep the torch burning or what have you. But I'm looking forward to the game, and it's a lot of fun. The whole thing is just a lot of fun hanging out. We'll do a lot of panels here. I think we've got like 4 panels that we're doing. All kinds of stuff going on, a bunch of games. So it's going to be a lot of fun. GaryCon, that's the next, not next weekend. Isn't it? No. Yes. Yeah, it's next weekend. Yes. So that'll be next weekend, beginning on the 25th, I think. Be lots of fun. Ardian style kaiju at some point. I don't even know what kaiju is. I'm going to have to look that up. Let's see. I've got DuckDuckGo open in front of me. Oh, interesting. So that's actually, I didn't even know that was a genre. So the whole giant monster thing is a genre of movies. So I got to, that triggered something. I got to take that back. Kadora or whatever, that dragon head guy. I got to go with Rodan. Rodan was my favorite. I had actually got a model of Rodan that I painted. It was really cool. Huge Godzuki. Oh, good Lord. When he stomps on Godzuki's tail and makes the little ring of fire come out. That was horrible. Just horrible. It's actually that I didn't give a damn. He wasn't even on Skull Island. He was on Faroe Island and was the same size as Godzilla for no reason. Well, if you're going to do it, do it. Don't worry about it. Just make a movie and have fun. So there's nothing particularly wrong with that. So I guess the raffle has begun. We're raffling off a signed copy of the Adventurer's Backpack, I believe. Free of charge. So just enter your name in with !raffle to win that sucker. I'm assuming Tim has already taken the lead on that. Yeah, at 6:15. Lord have mercy. All right. Now I'm going to miss commentary. Let's see. I thought the Pacific Rim movies were okay. A little comedy, lots of action, dash of story. Yeah, they were fun. I enjoyed them. I don't, when it comes to a movie like Pacific Rim, I don't look for a lot. It's just a monster movie. It's sort of like, I don't know, what was it? Mad Max. What's the latest one? Fury Road. It's exactly what it says it is. It is a movie about trucks driving from one part of the desert to the next, and that's all it is. And then they drive back. And there's a lot of violence in the scene, in the middle, and I love that type of stuff. I love knowing what I'm going to get in the title. Snakes on a plane. There were snakes on the plane. That was the whole movie. There's a plane. There's snakes. They're together. So I think that stuff's badass. I don't have any kind of problem with that. Mad Max Fury Road is catapulted into my top 5 favorite genre films: action, fantasy films, science fiction, whatever you want to call it. Absolutely loved every bleeding minute of that movie. It's like Atomic Blonde that came out 1 or 2 years ago with Charlize Theron. Fantastic movie. Yeah, I can say nothing but good stuff about Mad Max. And it's one of those movies, I think, that actually could help anyone playing any kind of RPG, running it or playing in it, to kind of get a better grasp of desert adventures, of just the sand and the heat and all of it. It was just a really good movie. The action sequences were great. The characters were fantastic. Especially even the two little, what was it? I can't remember the names of the two tumors that were on, is it Knox? Is that his name? On Knox's shoulder, or whatever his name was. Just a really great movie. I was a little upset, I was a little upset Max almost seemed like a secondary hero. There's a little bit of that. I could see that somewhat in there. But I thought that Tom Hardy, that's who did that? I don't know. He carried the role so well, and I'm such a huge fan of Charlize Theron. It almost as if he was the Gandalf of the movie, if that makes sense. He was guiding all of these people in the world in the way to live, and the way to survive, and all these things. So that's kind of how I saw his character in that. It didn't bother me that. And again, I'm a huge Charlize Theron fan. I just love her movies. She does lots of good action movies. She's like Mila Jovovich, who I'm a huge fan of, because she does lots of action movies. And at the end of the day, if you push me to a corner, I'm going to want to watch an action movie. Let's see. So real quick, if you haven't, please give us a follow. We are doing a week-long event of bunches of just jibber-jabber sessions and panels and whatnot. And we're just trying to make people aware of the TLG Twitch channel and get more people on board, and so you guys can be alerted when we're doing all kinds of shows. We do GM's Tricks of the Trade, games, painting miniatures, all kinds of stuff over here, and we're building the channel all the time. So please give us a follow, and whatever else. I guess like us somewhere else. I can't remember. Just give us a follow, please, if you can. Do you care for movies based on video games? If so, which one is your favorite? Resident Evil. Hands down, Resident Evil. If you stack up, if you were to put 3 movies franchises together, Star Wars, Star Trek, and Resident Evil, you can even throw the Lord of the Rings in there, and I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. You put all of those together, Resident Evil wins every time. I absolutely love the Resident Evil movies. About every 2 years, I watch all 7, 8, however many there are. I just watch them in a row. I love those. The first one is really great, and I think the second or third one is super good. The others are just good fun movies, but without a doubt, Resident Evil. Love that thing. I bought my car because it was the closest I could get to a Max's car. That's cool. There's this whole Nixon Knox. There you go. There's this whole kind of subculture that has this post-apocalyptic dress and cars, and they meet out, and it's not the Burning Man thing. It's something else. I think some of them may go to Burning Man. I have no idea, but they meet out west, and it's all that kind of post-apocalyptic. They build their own cars and their costumes and stuff. It's pretty cool. I remember reading about that not too long ago. Still waiting for my Final Fantasy movie. Yeah, that should be good. Who's the Archer woman? Tomb Raider. I saw the first one with Angelina Jolie, and that was good, but I haven't seen the second one. I've been wanting to watch that one. Have you never seen a Mad Max movie? Max is never the focus of the movie. My campaigns always end up feeling like Army of Darkness. That's some great stuff. Well, it's got to be fun, man. Minimally, your campaigns are going to be fun. Leeloo Dallas, yeah, Multipass. What is that? That's Fifth Element. So Fifth Element for me is an interesting movie. I loved it. I love Bruce Willis, and it's got Mila Jovovich, whatever her name is. And it's great. The cast is fantastic. And it actually harkens back to the heavy metal movies, the first heavy metal movie that's got the taxi cab driver at the very beginning sequence, if those of you who don't know. And that actually is probably for our generation, for the generation of knuckleheads my age that started Dungeons & Dragons as young people, back in the 1970s, so a little bit younger than the creators, Gygax and Jim Ward and that crew. But when we dove into it in the late 70s and 80s, heavy metal becomes this quintessential movie. It's the animated version. It's got a lot of sexual innuendos and half-dressed people, and it's not super violent. I don't remember it being particularly violent. But it's got a lot of action in it, a lot of sequences, some great music and all that stuff. So heavy metal kind of kicks off this whole wedge of movies that are just RPG-esque, gamer-esque, the whole subculture that was developing at the time. And I hate that word, subculture, I gotta tell you. But in Fifth Element, they do that. It's kind of, I don't know if he meant to pay homage to the taxi cab driver in the heavy metal movie, but he does. I mean, whether he did or not, I'm sure he did, because it's way too close to it. It's just cool. Bruce Willis does a great job, and then what's her name? Multipass, Leeloo Dallas falling through the thing, and then the whole movie kicks off. Just a great movie. He's in I'm not going to get into that argument. Here's a question, Steve. Time travel in RPGs. It's a risky thing to introduce and rarely done well in any medium. Any past experiences, opinions, or tips or incorporating that concept into a game or not? So, yes, time travel is one of those things. We see it in movies, and the movies always do it. Really, it's odd. The best movie I think that did time travel is probably Back to the Future. They did a great job of it. My wife is always pointing out to me that Two Twins Mall becomes Pine Mall, Two Pine Mall, or whatever it is, because the kid knocks over one of the trees when he time travels, which is just a cool kind of detail orient that's really cool. But in my games, I've tried the time travel. It never works. It never works because you can't undo it. It's the memory, whatever. All of that campaigning is now undone because you went back, whatever. So in Castles and Crusades, I created what's called the Blood Runes. And these blood runes allow you to time travel, sort of. What they allow you to do, actually, is to go into the time stream and see things that happened before. You can influence things that might happen in the future, which comes out as an attribute check or something, or maybe even give someone an advantage in a combat or whatever. But the time travel in the game is, I've never seen it done well. That it's fun. It ends up becoming like the dream sequence, which you've heard me preach about before, is a horrible thing to do. I don't any of that stuff. So the time doing a time travel at the game, Chad, is tough. I mean, have you done it before? I mean, have you done it successfully? Has anyone here? As always with everybody, please jump into the stream and let us know your thoughts. But I can't think. I've done it. I've tried to do it a few times, and it fizzled out. It just like getting stuck in sand with your truck. You just keep spinning and nothing's happening. Burning Man is a blast. I have never been. Nothing wrong with an Army of Darkness. Nope, not at all. You must like playing Car Wars. I've never actually played Car Wars, but it probably would be very fun. I want to run a time travel like game where the players have already run in the story before. Now they're doing a speed run type rush. Oh, that's interesting. So just kind of doing it over. What is that? Like not like this, but like Groundhog Day, where they're doing the same thing over and over again, just getting better at it. Oh no, that's an interesting concept. That might actually work. So much that is funny in Fifth Element. Oh yeah, Fifth Element's good. It's just a fun movie. Yeah, Chad is really, it's just a fun movie. And that I'm a Gary Oldman. I love Gary Oldman. Huge fan of his too. And he's in Fifth Element, of course. And chat is scrolling so fast. If you have a question, you may want to preface comment with question. Yeah, okay, it is moving fast. I think I'm way behind. Oh yeah, good Lord, I'm way behind. And say, hey Steve, I have a video for you to watch about the Resident Evil movies. If when you get the time, it takes the piss out of them pretty hard, but thought you'd get a laugh out of them. We're gonna post it. Yeah, just put it in Discord. Put it in my Discord over on the Steve thing. I don't often. This is one of the things I don't do about movies. I'm not sure where you guys stand on this stuff, but I don't do behind the scenes. I don't like extras, deleted scenes. I don't like any of that stuff. I really don't even like it when they do, like Blade Runner, one of my favorite movies, and Legend, another one of my favorite movies. There's like 714 cuts of each movie, and I don't know which one I liked. I liked one of them really, really good, and I don't know which one it is. For Blade Runner, it's the narration, and Legend, it's the theatrical release. But they put all these versions out. I can't remember what I liked, yeah, it's one of those things. But I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out. It's pretty hard at this point in my whatever mental for people to knock a movie so that I won't like it. So I'm game. Yeah, I'm mulling over an adventure with writing pitch based on the idea that the party clears out a dungeon in ruins and activates something that pulls them back in time to the same dungeon, but when it was newer and filled in with. Oh no, that's interesting. That way you contain it at least. I mean, at least it's contained that way. I think I missed a question. Someone asked, am I running games at GaryCon? I am. I'm running at least one, I think two. My big game and then one smaller one, I think. And my big game it won't have the normal 24 to 25 people that I run at GaryCon in person because it's just not conducive online to do that. But I'll definitely be running some games at GaryCon. Castles and Crusades, of course, I won't be running. Wait, am I in a D&D game? I might be in an AD&D game. I don't know. I'm not sure. I need to check my schedule. But I think I'm running two. If not, definitely one, maybe two. Not violent unless you count the glowing sphere melts G people's faces or the kid who became a barbarian and started... yeah, violence. It's not, aliens violence or whatever. What are some of the really insanely violent movies out there that's even shocking to me? Because I enjoy violent movies. I'm trying to think of some that's just... The Raid and the Raid 2, I would recommend those. I think they're Indonesian. I honestly cannot remember now, and it's one actor who's been in a bunch of movies. There's a few out there that are just violent in a good way, violent. The idea being that they need to prevent something from the past happening there. Well, that's cool. I kind of like it. Chad, when you run that game, let us know how it goes because I don't know. It's a tough type of game to run. Total Recall has a good taxi driver. Yep, it's an old Arnie movie. Both were based on Mobius art. Oh, that's interesting. I remember Mobius art. I hadn't seen that in forever and a day. Good Lord. Time Cop. Yep, that's another one. I see. Blood Runes are sounding very cool indeed. Which of the publications got a picture of them? Those are in. Now they're going to be in the spell book. I've already put them in the spell book. The Adventurers spell book, which should be out soon. But right now they're in the. I don't know. I think they're in the Player's Guide to Air. But that book's sold out. So, yes, they're in the Player's Guide to Air right now, and that book is sold out. So it'll be in print again soon too. We're running out of everything around here, which is a good problem. Avengers Endgame put an end to the theories in all previous time travel movies. What did they do in that one? They did something. They did I can't remember. I love the hero movies. I've enjoyed them, but I can't. They're not like Mad Max. It has so much fantastic scenery in it. There's the movie that I've been joking about a lot, Gretel and Hansel. There's so much kind of evocative, landscape-like paintings in it that I remember it. And the Avengers movies, the Iron Man movies, they kind of just meld all together. I can't remember them very well. Just kind of a sad statement on my head. For me, time travel, I think, would be the ultimate meta game mode for the players. Yeah, if you can pull it off. I just remember the story of the one DM who used time travel and realized he had to explain how a mountain appeared in the same location in the future. Well, plate tectonics or something. Time travel is okay if you don't go to the same plane. I really enjoyed how they did that time travel in 2002, the Time Machine movie. I don't think I saw that. I never saw Run, Lola, Run. It's always kind of been rolling around in my head. I tried having a big bad NPC who was a chronomancer, who couldn't change the timeline, but could see That's kind of how I do time travel. I read this when I was doing the Blood Runes. I read this physicist's approach to time travel, and basically the idea was that if you did time travel, so let's just say someone from right now time traveled into the back, we would never know it. He changed the course of history. We would never know it because everything changed, and we would never have known what happened before. So it could be changing constantly. We could all be kind of frazzled. Maybe that's why we're all frazzled all the time, is because time's constantly changing. I don't know. Lord of the Rings was long enough without the extras and behind the scenes. Yes, it was long enough. It's funny you should bring up Lord of the Rings. Enjoy the movies, good movies. But I just watched this scene from The Hobbit. I had completely washed this from my mind if I ever saw the final movie. But Legolas is hanging upside down, and he flies down in the middle of this 2 columns of orcs, and he kills 80 orcs or something. It was a bridge too far for me. I'll check it out, Ginkgo. The possible futures, Lord of the Rings. Let's see. I've been running and writing a Marvel superheroes campaign Sunday since 1984. Wow, very cool. Classic Marvel Comics did time travel different than most. Time travel in Marvel meant creating an alternate universe. If you then returned to your own time, nothing changed. They didn't do this in the very early comics or the recent ones, but for a long time that's how they did it, and meant the ability to go anywhere and any when with 0 paradoxes and plot holes. Yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind with the Blood Runes, so that you can time travel. You just can't change anything. You can't actually... the idea is time is linear and not circular. What is Nietzsche? Was it Nietzsche said time is a circle or whatever it is? Time is linear, and it's you can't change it. That's just the way it is. That's sort of how the Blood Runes are built. Let's see. High Surf and the bonus number 21. Blah blah blah. Was part of a campaign where the big bad guy escaped through the tapestry back to a major battle to change the outcome. The heroes followed to start him. Once they defeated him, the heroes returned to the present, so they saved their present and future. It worked pretty well. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, if you can pull it off, it's good. I saw a post once where the BBG could see 1 round in the future. This forced the players to pre-plan their moves and really focus on teamwork through combo stack abilities. I don't know, that's interesting. That's like a... what's a spell that lets you read someone's mind? I can't remember what that spell is. Oh shit, I have Godzilla versus the Smog Monster on DVD on my desk here. So that's crazy, man. So when you watch it, King, that first, I think, now it's been It's been 50 years since I've watched, or 45 years. I think the first scene is going to be this pollution in water, and something's moving through the water. You know, I never made this connection, but fast forward 2 years or 3 years off of that, and Jaws came out. Now, when Jaws came out, I would have been about 10 or 12 or 11 or something, and I lived in Kansas at the time. So literally, I think Kansas might be the furthest place from an ocean that you can get in the United States. I think it's got to be close to it. But that poster of the girl swimming at the top and the shark coming up, freaking terrified me. Absolutely terrified me. This thing about the unknown beneath me that I have no control over, and I wonder if it's tied to the whole Godzilla versus the smog monster and that creature swimming through them. See, we're doing a little psychoanalysis here. That's pretty good. First time here because of Eat to Surf's recommendation. Well, welcome aboard, Dice Chuck. We love having you here. And as you're already doing, jump into the thread and let us know what you're thinking about all of this craziness. There's so many movies out there. Okay, so the latest Dredd, I loved it. I love that actor. Who's that guy? He played Solomon Kane, right? Absolutely love the latest Dredd movie. I assume that's the latest Dredd movie. I might have missed one. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? The taxi driver. There you go. Doomsday 2008 goes from post-apocalypse to medieval time period, then back to post-apocalypse again, traveling across England. That sounds very familiar. Are there sequences? There's like it's crazy post-apocalyptic. It's not like it's medieval, but some of it's like punk medieval or something. Is that right? Marvel time travel time is subjective to experience. Oh, no, not Gretel and Hansel. I love that movie. Yeah, you should try to get some time traveling going on Jay and see how he reacts. A rock fell from the sky. God's fighting. That's how mountains are made. There you go. That was easy. I have a secret desire to design a B movie RPG. You need to get with Jason Vey in Amazing Adventures. He could definitely help you there. You could have abilities like confusing editing, which allows you to escape a dangerous situation by unclear means. That's great. That's fantastic. The B movies are a whole different ball of wax. Just a whole different ball of wax. What did we want? Time travel. When do we want it? That's irrelevant. Legolas jumped the shark. Yes, Legolas jumped the shark. That's a perfect way to put it, Willie. He definitely did. It was... I don't know that I saw the third Hobbit. Oh, there 4? Are there 3? I don't know. I don't think I saw the last Hobbit movie. Surely I did. I think I did. But I just don't... I had washed that from my... If I saw it, I washed that from my mind. Nietzsche, flat circle. Time is a flat circle. Is that what it is? Legolas was twisted by video games. Unfortunately, bigger is not better. Yeah, they kind of goofed with him in the at Helm's Deep 2 in the movies when he's sliding down the thing, the steps on the shield, and he's shooting. It's like the Hansel and Gretel movie, not the Gretel and Hansel movie, the good one. It's like the Hansel and Gretel movie. Hansel and Gretel's a great movie, good. And she's got the automatic crossbow where she's shooting a bolt every 2 seconds or something. It's just great. What fascinates me about fantasy movies, and in science fiction, it doesn't count because science fiction is science fiction, but fantasy movies, the director almost always, not always, but they almost always feel as if it's necessary to have explosions and automatic weapons of some type. And they give, like, probably the most jarring thing in Lord of the Rings is going to be in the third movie, Return of the King, when the dude guys, the orcs, are throwing boulders with the trebuchet or catapults. I can't remember. I think trebuchets are inside. It doesn't matter. And these giant rocks are hitting the walls of Minas Tirith, and whole sections of them are falling down. And I'm watching it going, that's absolutely crazy. Why would you even attack? Just sit there for like 5 days and lob giant rocks at the city, and the whole city would be a smoking pile of rubble. So I hate it when... I shouldn't say hate it, but I wish that fantasy movie directors and writers or whoever's in charge of this crap would stop doing the explosions and the automatic weapons and all that. That stuff goes in Alien and Aliens and, whatever. Fifth Element, it doesn't go in The Hobbit. It doesn't go in these movies. There you go. Steve Agent was a mechanic called the Bad Edit. If legend is truly an influence on air at CNC, we need more adventures where the hero Jack walks into the dungeon and without a problem of any harm finds ancient magical swords, shields, and armor. It was an influence. That's all it was. Legend is probably my top favorite fantasy movie. I'd have to give it some thought, but I love the movie Legend. It was captivating when I watched it back in whenever the hell it came out at the theater. And there's so much imagery, cinematography, and it's beautiful. It's just a great movie. And Jack is sort of like your classic hero because he just can do these things. Well, he doesn't sword fight very well. I guess Gristlebones? Is that the witch? Gristlebones knocks the sword out of his hand pretty quick, but on the shield. And if you haven't watched Legend, you take a couple hours. Now, it's going to be different. It's a fairy tale. It's basically what it is. And I mean, I've always been fascinated with fairy tales. That's not what my girlfriend says. I missed something on that one. Are we AMAing? Only a few minutes, but I am wondering the status of my royal tomb. So, we can AMA. That's perfectly fine. The box arrived today. Super happy about that. So it'll be one of our stout TLG boxes. So it'll be pretty... It'll be able to take a beating. The book itself is at the printer, and we approved the proofs today, other than the cover. I'll do that in the morning, and it usually takes them about 3 weeks, give or take, to print. And in the meantime, we'll get into the maps and start printing the maps. So Memorial Tomb, the box set with the main book and maps, and I want to say there's something else, I can't remember now, will be ready to ship if you choose sometime in mid-April. But it won't have all of the stretch rewards. It's not going to have everything that was promised to you guys by Benoit and Ernie. That we're still working on that other stuff, but I really felt you guys have waited far too long for this product, so that you need to get at least the main book maps box set, so that you can start playing in it now. So I'm hoping that by mid-April, yeah, is that right? Yeah, mid-April, it's shipping out like crazy. The Smog Monster is one of the lamest Godzilla villains to me. Yeah, it's pretty goofy. Mothra's kind of up there too. Giant moth, whatever. The Untitled Chapter, an example of time. Yeah, because I'm way behind. I think I'm way behind on this thing. Good Lord, I'm not catching up. The last Hobbit movie was worth it just for Billy Connolly as the king of the dwarves. There you go. The third Hobbit movie is like watching money burning on screen. It stars the battle with CGI orcs and dwarves and wacky cartoon monsters and no physics. Yeah, it was that. I don't know. I'm beginning to think I need to see it. I've watched enough of it on YouTube though. The most jarring in the books was severed heads hurled into the city in fire. Yeah, I mean, and a trebuchet doesn't work quite. Like a catapult doesn't work quite like that. There's a weird wave of heat coming off from the desk over here. Something may be on fire. I don't know. Yeah, it just, I mean, you can pound the walls for quite a while. If you want a better idea of it, watching Kingdom of Heaven, a movie I always recommend. If you're a fan of role-playing games and Knights, Warriors, and all of that stuff, watch Kingdom of Heaven. Watch the extended version of it. Don't watch the theatrical version. The extended version has, it's about 3 hours, maybe. It explains the story better, and it's got, you have context for your characters, which you don't in the theatrical version. But it's very grounded. There's no elves and dwarves or any of that stuff. It's a medieval movie, but it's very, very grounded. Another one that's it's not as grounded, but minus the machinery, the characters in it, In the Name of the Rose, is that the right one? No, Flesh and Blood. I think it became The Rose and the Sword, Flesh and Blood. Now, Flesh and Blood's got some very graphic scenes in it. I'm just going to warn you, if you go check that movie out, it's got some graphic scenes in it, so don't go into it, whatever, with any kind of modern expectations. Which is aren't seeing as Billy Connolly. Let's see, blah blah blah. How's it going, Green Lantern? Jackson asked Billy if he had read the books, and Billy told him no. And I tend not to get on well with those who have. There you go. Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see. We'll see if we can get these things that are rolling out. It's good stuff. The only part I've seen from Legend was the part that Ridley Scott drunkenly edited into Blade Runner, thus irrevocably ruining the themes of his science fiction master. I never knew he did any of that. That's so funny. He's at the unicorn scene. Z-Box does. See, for me, it doesn't matter. Blade Runner is just as good. Legend is... I can easily slip into that suspension of disbelief and enjoy a movie. It's one reason I follow a friend of mine, Todd Gray, who you'll meet tomorrow night. He'll be on the stream with us discussing Aired. Todd has long since had the philosophy to never He doesn't do any behind the scenes stuff. He doesn't listen. Like if an actor has a political opinion, or an actor has even an opinion about their movie, or is doing an interview about their movie, or is on the Tonight Show with whoever's on the Tonight Show these days, Todd won't watch any of it. He doesn't want anything to do with any of it. He just wants to go to the movies and watch that movie. He doesn't look for Easter eggs. He doesn't do any of that stuff. And for me, that's kind of unless you're that type of person who wants to know all the trivia, it breaks the suspension of disbelief. If I watch like a scene where I can see the boom mic or whatever the hell it is, and a director talking to an actor, when I watch that actual scene, I'm out. All I can see now is the people behind the screens. So I try to dodge most of that. But Blade Runner is for me almost an untouchable film. Love how Kingdom of Heaven starts by introducing what appears to be an epic hero. His father's true, and most of them get slaughtered. Yeah, it's a rough. You're thinking you're finally getting into a great D&D RPG CNC movie, and it's not. That changes very quickly. But the scene that scene where all of that unfolds is really cool. It's just really inspirational. If you're playing RPGs, I strongly recommend you take the time to watch Kingdom of Heaven. It just gives you great context for armor and horses and battle and swords and damage and equipment, and I don't know, it's just a really, this desert heat and the colds of Germany, I guess, France, I'm really not sure where they began their journey. It's just good stuff. Let's see, the old landscape. No, Flesh and Blood is not a no, absolutely not. They call me Tim, whatever they call me Tim, is 150% right. Do not watch Flesh and Blood with your movie, with your family. Absolutely do not. I will tell you right now, there's a rape scene in the movie, so be advised. It's violent. It's twisted. But when you're watching it for small medieval warfare, they lay siege to this castle that these half dozen or a dozen mercenaries have control over, and it's cool to watch that unfold. And it's pretty violent. Pretty violent. Gladiator is a fantastic movie. Absolutely love Gladiator. Ridley Scott is great, and I love Russell Crowe does great movies too. Let's see, exactly. No one can spell exactly. It's a silly word. There are multiple versions of the Legend film, different cuts and soundtracks. Which one is best? That's where I can't dice. I don't know. I've watched like 3 of them. I like the original. I like the original Blade Runner with the voiceover. So when you get into, this is one of my frustrations, when they keep releasing all of these damn movies, I don't know which one I like anymore. I went to actually buy, was it True Romance? It might have been Legend. It was True Romance or Legend. I was trying to buy the other day, and on Apple, and I couldn't figure out which version I wanted, so I didn't buy it. It's quite frustrating. Sorry, Dice Chuck, I can't help you. You've already mentioned 3 Ridley Scott movies as your favorites tonight. Blade Runner, Legend, Kingdoms of Heaven. Yeah, I'm a huge Ridley Scott fan. Even what did he just do? Prometheus and something are a little bit confusing, but his cinematography is just through the roof. He did Gladiator too. His attention to detail is just, it's astounding. I think his brother committed suicide a couple of years ago. His brother was almost as good a filmmaker as he is. Man, a good movie. So yeah, Kingdom of Heaven. If you haven't watched Blade Runner and Legend, watch those 2. Absolutely good movies. Buckaroo Banzai. There you go. Haven't heard that one in a while. Yeah, everybody, please give us a follow if you have not. We sure appreciate it. And we're going to be here all week running all kinds of jibber-jabber sessions mostly. They have titles, but they're really, loosely titled. So please give us a follow and join us this week and hang out. And throw in your 2 cents into these streams. I cannot, my memory is horrible. I imagine that there are 3, 4, 5 dozen movies I've just forgotten about, that if, like Buckaroo Banzai, if you mention it here in the stream, I might go watch it because I have forgotten about it. I tried to get my family into Witcher on Netflix. 5 minutes in, she had spotted a sticker on the bottom of a mug and pointed out characters. That's bad. That's not good. It's like watching movies with my dad. He would always just, his suspension of disbelief was very low. He would just step out in a heartbeat. I remember when it came out, he and I were watching Terminator, and I was so pumped about the movie. We were watching about a year after it came out because it was on VHS. And when when Reese crashes the car into the wall, and the cops are all chasing him. And my dad goes, "Oh, so he's the father of John Connor. Got it. He got it. Walked away." It's like, son of a... It was a great movie. Anyone watch the live-action versions of Rurouni Kenshin? I have not seen that. Now, that's interesting. Now, is that fantasy, Stadler? I'm not sure. I haven't heard of that. And I've actually been, for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been watching a lot of Korean movies because they're really... Korean movie industry is really pumping out fantastic, absolutely fantastic movies for action movies. Now, I don't branch beyond. I really enjoy action movies. Train to Busan, Man from Nowhere. They're just some really great action films coming out of Korea. So definitely, if that's what that is, I'll definitely check it out. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna type that in. I had YouTube open just for this, in case I hear of something that I'm gonna want to. Good God, there it is. Okay, interesting. So is this Korean? All right, yeah. Is that on Netflix or something? Somewhere. I see Legend Director's Cut is a little longer and perhaps too meandering, but the best of them all. See, I'm not sure if I've ever watched the Director's Cut. I probably should sit down and watch them back to back. I know I've watched a few versions of Blade Runner, and the voiceover is still my favorite Blade Runner. I think my favorite RPG film is The Gamers, Darkness Rising. You know I can't get to it. It's behind all of this stuff, but I've got a poster up here. If you watch, so if you haven't watched Gamers Darkness Rising, watch it. It's fantastic. It is a hilarious movie. And at the beginning, you can actually see some some TLG product in there. I believe you'll see this book on the shelf in the game store. And we did some product placement in there and gave all the crew and staff and actors and actresses all of a whole bunch of books and stuff. But and they gave us some product placement. It was really cool. But the movie itself is a blast. It is a blast. That scene where whatever his character, it's been too long, but the characters, he dies and he keeps dying and he keeps dying and he starts pulling the character sheets out. So basically his character keeps getting killed and he brings in a new character and that guy gets killed and he brings in a new character. And at one point he brings out this whole stack of like 50 characters and he goes, I can do this all night. It's really fantastic. Absolutely love Gamers Darkness Rising. For real Ridley Scott treat, go and watch The Duelists with 2 Napoleonic era hussars who have a years-long running duel. That's a great movie. It's got the actor. Damn it, he plays the wolf in Pulp Fiction. Whoever that is. That's a very good movie. I missed the Blade Runner movie with Harrison Ford does commentary through it. That's my favorite one. That's my absolutely favorite one. I think that's a theatrical release, but I don't know how that breaks down. That was supposed to be a bunch of duets. Wouldn't let me repeat it. There you go. Starsky and Hutch. The best RPG movie of all time. I also love the original Blade Runner. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. Ice Pirates was a fun movie. That's a time travel movie. We were talking about time travel earlier. Ice Pirates, that's kind of a time travel, right? Or am I mixing that up with something else? Is that the Terry Gilliam movie? It's a documentary, not a movie, but it has really great reenactments. But has anyone been watching The New Age of the Summer? I have not. It's on my list. It's a great inspiration for RPG writing that is historical, realistic, and grounded in feudal society. Oh, that's cool. I'll check it out. I mean, it's on my list. I'll definitely move it up. I'm watching, I'm finishing, hopefully tonight, probably tomorrow night, the Haunting of Bly House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, some kind of manor, a Bly. I don't know. It's a good movie. It's great. It's a series on Netflix. It's really good. Ridley Scott has his inspiration for making films was not necessarily the story, but the process of creating worlds on screen, and he does it. I mean, that's you're spot on. I mean, his movies, and I think that's what draws them to me. It's why I like Tolkien. I'm just a huge fan of detail, and I want to see I want to know what's happening beyond the main characters, and it doesn't break. I don't see the Witcher with the sticker on the bottom of the mug or whatever your wife saw. And Ridley Scott, I think he is probably unmatched in the detail that he puts on screen. And I'd put him up against Spielberg and whoever other directors there are out there, Scorsese, whoever. Ridley Scott's just his attention to detail is unfathomable. I mean, it's beautiful. Would not pass today's politically correct standards. There's a whole lot of stuff that wouldn't pass today's politically correct standards. Let's see. Somewhere in Time is a great romance film with time travel starring Chris Reeve and Jane Seymour. I haven't seen that. That's kind of cool. That reminds me of, I was talking about it not too long ago. What's the Robin Williams movie? I strongly recommend this for plane travel. This is probably the most inspirational movie for plane travel. What Dreams May Come. If you haven't seen What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, fantastic movie. Of course, Williams delivers every time he's on screen. And the movie is just through the roof good, and it's sad. It's a bittersweet, sad movie, but its vision of extra planar stuff, I think, is unmatched for the RPG world, for gaming. It'll give you a whole different, I don't know, it just gives you this very visual approach to what other planes would be. Definitely check that out. Definitely check out What Dreams May Come. I think that's the name of it. Don't quote me. I think it is. Lady Hawk was good. That was fun. Not one of my favorite. It did the thing that I don't like they do in medieval movies, where they all put them in the same uniforms. I'm just not a big fan of that. It was very un-medieval. What was that Sean Connery movie? There's one of the Robin Hood movies that did that. Sean Connery. No, not Sean Connery. Who's the guy who played in Pretty Woman? Whoever that is. Damn it, I can't remember. Whatever. He comes back. He's like Lancelot. It's a horrible movie. I just didn't like it at all. I've seen Fire and Ice many times, love it, but the DVD that comes with a painting with Fire Frankfurt at a dock. Fire and Ice is a good movie. That reminds me of Reign of Fire. Another great science fiction fantasy crossover. Check that thing out. Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. I don't know that I ever saw that. Surely I did. The second Busan movie should be out now. Now there's the Train to Busan, and I watched the follow-up, so it may already be out, unless there's something I missed. Antiquita, there's, I can't remember what it's called, but I watched it about a month ago. It's really good. Let's see, Train to Busan. That's probably not. Is it the Peninsula? Train to Busan 2. I don't know. Peninsula. Yes, it's called Peninsula, I think. So the one I watched, which is a follow-up for Train to Busan, is Peninsula. If you haven't seen Train to Busan, it's one of the best zombie movies you're ever going to watch, in my opinion. Fantastic film. And Peninsula follows up like 5 years later or something, 2 years later, some shit like that. It's a fantastic movie. Love both of them. Have you seen Old Boy, directed by Bong Joon-ho? No, I have not. We'll keep all these in my oh boy, the corridor fight scene. Oh, I know what this is. Oh yeah, I've seen clips of this. Didn't know what it was called. All right, there you go. So that's on my list. Yes, I've seen that. A clip came up with him fighting the corridor. Excellent. And that's the type of movie I love. That's the Raid and the Raid 2 do this type of fight sequences. The Man from Nowhere. There's a few other ones that just do really fantastic, beautifully choreographed fight sequences that are violent and bone-breaking and bloody, and it's for RPGs. If you're playing games, they're absolutely fantastic for inspiration. If you're doing descriptions, or even your character's doing descriptions, or whatever the heck it is, watch The Raid, The Raid 2. I'm guaranteeing you, Old Boy. There's another one I'm missing, just came out. It's on Netflix. I should have made a list before I came down here. I see, love Old Boy. I have to check that out now. Billy Gray probably couldn't be in that movie these days. Let's see, what movie was it? The Ever-Dying Bard. Kenshin was a Japanese anime I fondly remember. They did live-action versions, Samurai Hero, and he fights some unique type enemies. I'll definitely check it out. It's on my list now. Also agree with that. Old Boy is a great film. The original, anyway, I heard a lot of bad things about the remake. Interesting. Ice Pirates did have a time travel sequence. I thought there was something. Harvey Keitel. Yes, that's the guy. Harvey Keitel is going to be in whatever movie we were talking about earlier. I can't remember. The Duelists. Yes, there you go. The Haunting of Bly Manor. Yes, it's very good. I'm on 4 or 5. I'm not sure. It's very good. I like this movie, and I've been watching. For those of you who have been attending my streams for a while, you know I'm not a huge horror fan, and I'm not a slasher fan. I don't enjoy those movies very much. Occasionally I'll watch one. But I've recently, in the last couple of years, gotten into horror movies and horror shows that are more kind of understated and calm and, I don't know what, macabre? I hate that word, but whatever it is. And The Haunting of Bly Manor, The Haunting of Hill House 2 were really good, and I like this concept of ghosts from different epics and periods and whatever, and causes, whatever. are in these houses doing their thing. I really like that. You think Time Bandits? Wonderful Time Bandits was a great movie. The less said about Spike Lee's Old Boy remake. Oh, okay, so Spike Lee made the. So what I'm looking at is a clip from 9 years ago. I'm assuming that's not the remake. Time After Time was a cool one too. Time After Time. Is that a song too? That sounds familiar. I have the Time Bandits miniatures. Going to paint them soon. Very cool. Korean period fantasies are pretty great. Also, I recommend Kingdom and Monsters. They have both a what's really going on. I've seen both. Monsters is great. Monsters is really good. Kingdom is fantastic. If you have not watched Kingdom, it's I think 2 seasons now on Netflix, Hulu. I don't know, somewhere. It streams somewhere. Check out the Kingdom. It's not the Kingdom. It's Kingdom. It's Korean medieval zombies. Very good. Fantastic show. My boy Robert Eggers is making a Viking movie. He directed The Witch and The Lighthouse, which both absurdly blew my mind. The Witch, that's one of my favorite horror movies that I've watched recently. So he's doing a Viking movie. That should be very cool. Now, I will say there was one Viking movie I didn't care for that much. Came out about 10 years ago, and they end up going to the New World, and the first 30 minutes, one Viking is rescued, and he ends up on a boat, and they go to the New World, and it's their adventures in the New World, and it's Richard Gere. That's who's in Pretty Woman, and he did a Lancelot, where he plays Lancelot or something. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of this Viking movie. Valhalla Rising? Something Rising? Somebody's Rising? I saw What Dreams May Come in the theater when it was new. Yeah, it was a great movie. Yeah, the guy who stuck the gerbil. I don't know that was ever approved. Richard Gere's a very good actor. I've watched a lot of his movies. But the First Night, yes, there you go. First Night is not. They had that sequence, that type of sequence that this is what I didn't like about Lord of the Rings portrayal of elves. They take this troop, and they put them all in matching uniforms and matching armor and matching helmets and matching blades and matching all of that crap. And I don't like it. It's not very medieval. There was very, very little of that I know of. I could be wrong, but very little of that. And it's like you're taking a modern day whatever and injecting it into medieval stuff from long ago. Let's see, 13th Warrior, fantastic movie. 13th Warrior is a good movie. The Witcher, I know someone, I can't remember who was making fun of it. I did watch it. I stuck with it. First episode, it gets better. It's one of those shows, it just gets better as it goes. It's like if you haven't watched The Last Kingdom, first season is it's good, it's enjoyable. But the second season is better, and the third and fourth season are fantastic seasons. Check out The Last Kingdom. Train to Busan is really good at getting you afraid of it. Yes, it is. I love Train to Busan. That movie was fantastic. I'm old and don't have the patience to sit through a 4-hour movie nowadays. But I did binge stream both seasons of Jack Ryan recently. Those are pretty good. Those are pretty good. That's got the guy from the Office. I like those. Late to the party today. And Kirsty, how's it going, Mr. Obadiah? Hotel internet really sucks, keeps lagging, not sure how to fix it. Yeah, probably no way to fix that. Just the same every other Holiday Inn I've been in has worked flawlessly. That's because you're joining the troll stream. And this is kind of how technology, we've had 2 pieces of equipment go down today. It's been one of those days. So we're just spilling our karma in your direction. Dark Light, that's all that's happening. My goodness, you and I share a crazy same taste in films. I've seen every film you've mentioned except one. Which one? That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, these are, I'm kind of, when it comes to fantasy films, I'm a little bit more particular. I didn't really care. I grew up in the 80s, and I didn't really care for all of those Swords and the Sorcerer and Crawl and Beastmaster with the little ferrets or the weasels or the gophers or whatever he was running around with. I didn't like that type of stuff. I like movies that are, I loved Dragon Slayer. I enjoyed Excalibur. Movies that are a little bit more grounded in, I hate to say reality because there's not dragons, but, well, there's Komodo dragons, I suppose, but there's not actual, fire-breathing dragons. Overall, people liking the Witcher TV show. I enjoyed it. It got better. I would stick with it. If you haven't, if you've abandoned it, I would stick with it. Thanks for the gift, said my friend. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. To meet your expectations. If you love The Witcher 3 and expect the same quality, then am I getting the show mixed up with something? I'm really liking The Witcher and hope for some seasons. Let's see. Told you that you had to be here. There, there you go. You deserve. Make sure it's Old Boy 2003, not Old Boy. Okay, all right, I'll do that. Love Blind Manor's explanation of how spirits evolve. Yeah, I'm super impressed with it, and it's given me huge amounts of inspiration for what we're working on now here at Troll Lord Games with the planescapes and Alfstrag and extraplanar crap and all of that stuff. Not crap, it's great stuff, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I really enjoyed the other one, The Haunting of Hill House. Just the scenic stuff is, I don't know, I just love it. I absolutely love cinematography that when I'm looking at it, it's like looking at a painting, and I think that's why I like Ridley Scott so much. And so because it is, you can pause it at almost any moment, and you're standing in a painting. It's beautiful. How about Bright? Why do I know that movie? Bright is terrible, but I'm a tough critic. So Bright. That sounds so familiar. Dumb but fun, I'd say. One movie that I was a little bit disappointed with. What's the one with? God, my brain is for shit. Who's the actress who plays the widow? No, not the widow. Black Widow in the Avengers movies. She did a movie not long ago that was. It was okay. It could have been better, I think. What the hell is her name? Bright, Will Smith. Oh yeah, Bright. That's the orc. The orcs in Los Angeles. That was okay. It was all right. It was weird. it was different. I did not like it. I never thought about it again until I seen it somewhere. Let's see. Bright is, let's see. Scarlett Johansson. Yes. Lucy. That movie. Lucy, I thought started really, really good, and could have ended a lot better. It just and I love her on screen. I think she's a great actress. But it just could have ended better. It could have gone a little bit better. Now I don't want to take away from anyone who really enjoyed the movie. It gets into that thing, and this is one of those just weird. We've talked about suspension of. Yeah, I finally caught it with chat. It's one of those weird suspension of disbeliefs. My wife is a neurologist, so she's a lot smarter than me, but she knows a little bit about the brain. And there's that whole thing floating around since the 1901s that humans only use 10% of their brain. And I mentioned that to her once, years and years ago, and she goes, well, the conscious part is maybe 10%, but the rest of your brain is actually doing stuff. And it's making your heart beat and all that other stuff. And I thought, no, wait a minute. So if we devoted all of our brain to thinking, we would just die. So that wasn't very cool. So when they did the whole 10% of the brain thing, I just thought that was not... They should have gone another direction with it. A little bit more creative would have been cool. Haven't seen Ghost in the Shell yet. I love Scarlett Johansson. I don't know why I haven't seen it. I need to watch it. Lucy has such a hilarious premise. What would using 100% of your brain look like? It would look like a grand mouse. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it would. See, I liked Bright. I used to play Shadowrun. Oh, see, that's perfect. Bright is absolutely perfect for that. It was a good movie. I don't know if they're doing a second one. Of course, COVID's come along and kind of wrecked Hollywood schedules, all over the place. It wrecked The Walking Dead. It's wrecked just tons of schedules. I see Bright has some serious potential. Yeah, it was good. A great adventure for one GM and one PC is the 1984 film The Last Starfighter. I've actually not seen The Last Starfighter. I know that's one that comes up at my game table when we get to jibber-jabbering about movies. That one comes up a lot. I think everyone has seen it except me. I probably should make that. I can't get past Dark Star. Dark Star is my favorite science fiction movie, so I just keep going back to it. Who cares about elves? I want more heavily metal orcs. That should be the TLG motto. We don't want to die, so we don't use all our brain thinking. That's the perfect motto. Should put on a t-shirt. I will tell people to look at your PC performance at 100% usage. Yeah, there you go. One of the worst movies ever made was I never watched that. It looked like it would have... Okay, now I'm going to mix this up. There's two movies. Is that the one where they, they get on a rope in the ocean? They fall into the ocean, maybe, and they pass through water and go into the air into another planet? It's kind of inverted on top of them. I can't remember. And then there's another one that's got the actress from that 70s show, I think. It's like some kind of science fiction city. This is really just trying to remember movies panel. That's all this is. What the hell is that movie? Who's that actress? I fell asleep at least 10 times. That's funny. Interactive is blah, blah. Hey, are we doing another giveaway? Okay, it's time for the free giveaway. I think we already did this. Did we already do the free giveaway? Jupiter Ascending. Yes, that's the one with I don't know her name. Mia something. She's married to that guy. Mia Kunis, there you go. That's pretty. Who's she married to? That other dude. King Arthur 2004 was great. Not sure which one that one is. I'll have to check that out. Was in Jupiter Ascending, which is one of the funniest bad movies in years. King Arthur, I'm beginning to gather that you're a really harsh judge on movies. Let's see, King Arthur. I'm curious what. I think I know which one you're talking about. Let's do a trailer on that guy. Yeah. That King Arthur movie is pretty good. I think that might be the only problem I had with that movie, and it's a very tiny. It's one of those pitiful things that at one point they talk about the Round Table being the most evil invention of all time, and that was a little weird. Ashton Kutcher, yeah. That dork. Dang, King Arthur. Cut him some slack. Go Thor. Wow, that's from a long time ago. Dark City, great movie. Yeah, Great Babe's spot on there. Dark City is a great movie. It's very surreal. The whole movie is very surreal, and I absolutely love. Who is it? Is it Wes Anderson? Is it Wes Anderson? Who does the surreal movies? A few Bill Murray films, the underwater thing, and Hotel Budapest. Great movies. I love surreal stuff. Just good things. I love movies, but I hate them. I love to hate them. I love to love them, and I hate to be indifferent to them. But at least you're passionate about it, gang. There you go. I'm pretty sure that's the Clive Owen one. You remember? Yeah, yes, I believe that's who I'm looking at right now. Yes, Clive Owen. It's good. Last Starfighter. Let's see. Did you see The Last Night? Now is that the one with Richard Gere? Rufus Sewell, Obster Gruppenführer. What is that? That does remind me, Dorans, I just watched Barbarians on Netflix. Very good. Very, very good. If you haven't watched that, definitely check that out. And it's one of those that will give you a good kind of idea if you're playing RPGs and whatnot. It'll give you a good idea of how to set up villages, forced travel overland, interacting with, local power structures. It's really good. Really, really good thing. Paul Anderson. Is that who that is? I don't know who he did. Like the Bill Murray movie where he goes underwater. Whatever. I can't remember it. I love that movie. And Hotel Budapest. Tim, you would love Hotel Budapest. I strongly recommend everybody watch Hotel Budapest. What's the Bill Murray movie? I'm gonna have to check it up now. Hold on, let's see, Bill Murray, I'm just going to type in water movie. There you go. It'll come up. Life Aquatic. There you go. The Grand Budapest Hotel is a great movie. Steve Zissou, yes, with the Life Aquatic. I love that type of surreal movie, and that's what Dark City is. It's just surreal. It's just anything that's otherworldly. That movie I mentioned earlier, What Dreams May Come. Anything that kind of takes me out of this world and thrusts me into some strange, different place is fantastic. Isle of Dogs, he was hacking on me. There you go. The Life Aquatic, let's see, Isle of Dogs is great. I haven't seen that. I'm gonna have to go back through this stream. It should be saved here in my search. See if I've seen that. No, I have not seen Isle of Dogs. It's actual dogs, okay? Okay, I'll check it out. That's funny. That's hilarious. I did one of the movies I thoroughly enjoyed was that first Lego movie. That was just a fantastic movie. And just good stuff. All right, I will definitely watch The Isle of Dogs. The Fantastic Mr. Fox is a good movie. That was a lot of fun. Animated movies are hard for me. I got a bunch of kids, and we watched years and years. So I've watched absolute tons of animated movies, from the very good to the very bad. But for me, coming from where I do back in the 70s, and I can't decide what I consider myself a 70s child or an 80s child because, I was born in 67, so I kind of straddle both decades. But heavy metal for me kind of there's a magazine called Heavy Metal, and then a movie Heavy Metal, and then a magazine called Epic. that they definitely had adult content. There's no doubt about that, and I'm certain that's part of what appealed to me as a youngster. But no internet in those days. But the stories in Heavy Metal Epic and in the movie were fantasy science fiction, and they were pushing the boundaries of what we knew then, of what we were thinking. Science fiction was very different in those days. It was pre-Star Wars, was right. It's actually after Star Wars, but it's before Star Wars and Lord of the Rings take over the genres. Star Wars takes over the science fiction genre, and Lord of the Rings takes over the fantasy genre. So movies like Alien and stuff kind of they're fantastic movies, but they get a little bit sidelined in the popular culture. But in the earlier days of science fiction, it was kind of exploring new stuff, and that's what Heavy Metal and Epic, especially Epic, did. If you can ever get a hold of the 1980s Heavy Metals and Epics, and again, there's a lot of adult content in there, but there's just cool stories in it. I love this. I love the conflict or the struggle or the journey together, however you want to phrase it, of man and technology and our primordial roots. I'm a very huge biology-based guy, so I like the idea that of thinking of humanity as a biological organism, and then technology's tools that drive us to wherever the hell we're going. So that early stuff kind of captured that, and we've lost a little bit of that. Some of it it's probably cyclic, I'm sure, and I got to back off on that because someone just said The Expanse, and The Expanse is a perfect example of that. It's a grounded science fiction that's not space opera or any of that. If you haven't seen The Expanse, strongly recommend it. It's probably the closest thing I've ever seen to what colonizing our solar system is going to look like as we push out going for what? Resources. That's why humans bebop around all over the place. Don't tell that to the Trekkies. Yeah. I love Star Trek movies. Most Trekkies don't like me because I like the first Trekkie movie is my favorite. Star Trek the Motion Picture is my absolute favorite of the Star Trek movies. I watched it about a month ago. It's science fiction. It's very cool stuff. Heavy Metal has a fantastic soundtrack. The lead singer's warbling voice can grate on. There you go. Did you and Gary discuss movies? We did occasionally, and we talked history more than we did movies, and I actually talked about earlier. We had a little bit of different taste in movies, and the last kind of argument, tongue-in-cheek argument that we had was over King Kong. He did not like the Peter Jackson version of King Kong, and I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was much better than the 1970s version, or 80s, whenever that one came out. I thought it was an equal to the 1933 version, which to me is the best of the versions, simply because they stay true. I mean, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think King Kong is a story outside of a movie script. I think it comes from, the script is the original King Kong. And it's very grounded, like a lot of movies. I like movies to be. A second Heavy Metal movie wasn't so great. I never saw it, but it did have Michael Ironside voicing one of the characters. That's kind of cool. Expanse is really good. Star Wars hit in 1977, and Gene Roddenberry came along in 1979 and decided that instead of aping off the success of the epic space adventure film that made more money than all the kings of Europe, he made a slow-paced, methodical Star Trek film influenced by 2001. Yeah, I enjoyed that one more than I did the others. But to me, when I'm watching a movie, I go to Star Wars for a very different experience than I go to Star Trek. And I'm really not knocking either one of the franchises. They're great movies. I mean, they're really great movies. I'm a huge fan of Captain Kirk. It's a different experience. It's like going to see, if I want a really good action alien-based movie, I'm going to go to Aliens, right? But Fifth Element is a science fiction movie, but it's extraordinarily different than Aliens. It doesn't mean one's better than the other or one's not. They're just a different movie experience. And once again, we're back to The Expanse. It is a good movie, good show. Heavy Metal has great Gamma World type stories. Yes, it did. They said that I also like 90s cheese, like Space Above. Okay, I loved Space Above and Beyond. Space Above and Beyond, I thought, was another one of those grounded shows that was kind of based in reality, the way things will be. Plus, it had one of the characters in there flew off into a certain death listening to some Johnny Cash, and I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan. First musician I ever listened to was Statler Brothers, then Johnny Cash. Space Above and Beyond, a good show. I don't even know if you can find that anywhere anymore. Star Trek: The Motion Picture is the best Star Trek movie, and Trekkies will never admit it. It's slow, methodical, and all about solving a problem and people working together. Yeah, it's just a good movie. It's very science fiction-y. I was annoyed that they eat them out instead of allowing me to binge. By politics, do you mean the election or the way the UN functions? I'm not even sure what I was talking about at that point. Neither of those. I'm not sure where I mentioned politics and all that. And since we're talking time travel, Star Trek 4 is a fun time travel. The other Star Trek movies, to me, that's exactly what they are. They're fun movies. I enjoy them. But it's not really my type of film that I go like Prometheus or what is the other one? He did another one. He did Prometheus and something else. It's just these kind of very hardcore science fiction, I guess. I liked Alien more than Aliens. It's funny because that's just what I said a minute ago about Star Trek, Star Wars. Alien and Aliens are so different from each other. Alien is like a horror movie, and Aliens is like an action movie. It's almost hard to put. Obviously, they go together, but it's hard to put them together. Aliens 3 and 4, not big fans of those. I didn't like hearing Spock say, "One damn minute, Captain." There you go. I like Star Trek: The Motion Picture. However, I thought it is a little bit slow. Space Above and Beyond also had Arlie. Did it really? Ring of Fire. That's what he's singing as he goes on. Kelly the Rabbit knows. It was just a great scene. Covenant. Yeah, so I loved Covenant. That was a great movie. I love Prometheus. Great movies. There's probably, if I was to really dive into it, there's parts of the stuff it didn't make a lot of sense, but I never did, and I don't want to. I just enjoyed them. The first Star Trek movie was directed by Robert Weiss, who also directed the Andromeda Strain. Oh wow, I did not know that. Which also had a slower pace, but both are great films. Science fiction was different. Like if you watch stuff from the 70s, from the 60s and 70s, science fiction's 50s and into the 60s, it's kind of this B stuff. But with movies like Silent Running and Logan's Run, Planet of the Apes, they shifted gears into a more real, that's not the right word, but just a lower tech science fiction. No warp drives, no whatever they do in Star Wars. I really don't know what they do in Star Wars. What do they do in Star Wars? They go far distances somehow. A buddy of mine, the best Star Trek is Lower Decks. I haven't seen that. That's funny. A buddy of mine just got the DVD set for Space Above and Beyond, so it's out there somewhere. So if you can get a hold of it and get it, it's a lot of fun. It's just a good show. Part of why Star Trek: The Motion Picture drug is because it wasn't supposed to be a movie. The script was written for a relaunching of the series. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. And then they jammed it into a movie. Most of the UN footage, like all the stuff with the ambassador and the incorporate. Were we talking? What was I talking about? The Expanse. Wanted more or lesser fights in space, spaceships, and people being eaten by bacteria, and less trying to maneuver into higher political standing and the espionage aspect. You wanted more laser fights in space. So you're talking about, The Expanse, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a very. I forgot the UN was even in that. That's so funny. I don't know. It's just so. I think what I liked about it is it portrays the way, a kind of a realistic approach to the way we're going to end up colonizing Mars and the moons of Jupiter and Saturn and the belt, the asteroid belt, whatever it is. I suspect. Yeah, I had this conversation with my son, he enjoys math and whatnot, and he came up to me and he said something like, "It's 31,000 light years to the next star system," and I said, "Well, how far is that? I don't know how far light years." So he told me, and I said, "So it'd take us what? A couple of lifetimes to get there? We should get a big ship with a bunch of food." And he goes, "What do you mean a couple of lifetimes?" And he added it all up, and it's like 58,000 lifetimes or some kind of shit like that. I was like, I just gotta sleep for a while, I suppose. Alien Covenant was the last one. Yeah, there you go. Going back to time travel, the Sarah Connor Chronicles was. I never saw the Chronicles. That's interesting. I don't know why I didn't see it. I love the Terminator franchise. Did I see the last one? Wasn't there one that just came out? Yeah, with Sarah Connor's older and dude man is the Terminator guy's like a farmer or something. I'm really doing it disjustice. It doesn't sound like that at all. It's a fun movie. But yeah, the Terminator's kind of a farmer. I don't remember it. Help me, Spock. Terra Nova and Earth 2. Okay, so now my brain is mostly mush. Death Angel Shadow, but Earth 2, I'm pretty sure I saw that, and I'm pretty sure I really enjoyed it. They're like stranded, right? They're stranded on a planet, and is the actor from Highlander in that? Damn it. That's going to bug me now. I'm like 90% certain I enjoyed Earth 2. I'm a huge, for those of you who don't know, for those of you just joining the stream, my name is Stephen Chenault, and I'm the CEO of Trollwood Games. We publish Castle Crusades, 5th edition, Amazing Adventures, Victorious, all kinds of stuff. And we're just here tonight talking about movies and TV shows, and I'm an absolute gigantic fan of movies and TVs. I love reading. I got a gigantic library, probably 4,000, 3,000 books. I read history all the time, but I love movies. I love TV shows. They don't even have to be good. One of my favorite movies is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. It's an absolutely hilarious movie. Earth 2 is a TV show. And we're just discussing all of this. Yes, that's not the Highlander actor at all. But, yeah. Earth 2 was a good show. I like anything that's kind of... The Walking Dead, one of the episodes in The Walking Dead I love the most, Hyperdrive, that's what it is in Star Wars. The thing I like the most in Walking Dead is those episodes where they're struggling against the environment and zombies just to stay alive. Not necessarily against other groups of humans, those are fine. But I really like the struggle between man, nature, and just trying to stay alive. Most people probably find those the most boring episodes, but that's what I enjoy, and I think that's what I enjoyed about Earth 2. My brain slowly remembers some of that. Space Above and Beyond sounds like something I'm trying to remember for years. Yeah, I always forget the title of it. I think it was a comic book too. Yeah, I like Alien because it's the origin. It was Alien was beyond great. Yeah, you're spot on. It was a fantastic movie, and it really did kind of. It took movies like Silent Running and Logan's Run and made them even better. Now the dark empty of space is real and it's terrifying, and it was very cool. I remember when I did not see that movie at the theater. I was too scared. But I remember the egg. I remember that egg on that poster. I might have been too young. I think it was an R-rated movie too. Calling on the Planet of the Apes. Oh my good lord. We don't need any of that. You quoting Abraham Lincoln TOS episode. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know if you're talking to me, but I have no idea. Oh no, you're talking to Canadian Agent Emma. The hyperdrive, yes. And so you got folding space in Dune, hyperdrives in Star Wars, and warp drives in Star Trek, which is all great concepts. I love all of these concepts. As a game designer, you actually have to come up with ways to put these things together if you want, especially if you're doing science fiction. To have an intergalactic war, you have to have a way that your intergalactic characters can intergalactically encounter. So warp drives and hyperdrives are absolutely essential to the plot line. Eating the spice and going, what do they do? They fold space, right? I think they fold space in, which is Majigger, Dune. They were damn well, there you go. See, The Voyage Home, I love it. Those are all good. That Star Trek stuff, it's at 6 trillion miles per light year. Yeah, that's what it was. We figured it all out. It was so funny. It was such a hilarious conversation. Because we figured out what was the fastest object we have thrown in space is it Voyager 2 is going 44,000 miles an hour? I can't remember. I can't remember numbers. So if you haven't given us, please give us a follow if you have not. We very much appreciate it. I tell you, a very cool TV show that is HBO Max was Carnival with Clancy Brown as the bad guy. Carnival. Have not seen that. And there stars like 31 light years. That's what Wilson was saying. I think we figured it out that we could get there at 45,000 miles an hour in like 48,000 lives or something. I can't remember now. The conversation was, there was way too many numbers for me to remember all of that. Only 2 seasons though, because the show cost too much. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. I assume Earth 2, but Rome was a good show, and they canceled that after pretty quickly. Next galaxy is like 2.5 million light. Yeah, you got to have some kind of warp drive for that, probably. Have you watched any Neil Blomkamp movies like District 9, Elysium, and Chappie? I've seen Elysium and parts of Chappie. I haven't, beyond that, I haven't seen. I know I haven't seen District 9. It's always one of those movies. It's like the third, what is the Army of the Dead, whatever the hell, that skeleton comedy movie. I've never seen I've seen the second one. I've never seen the third one. Army of the Dead? I can't, whatever. But I have to check that. I have to get back into that. I've seen Elysium. I enjoyed that, but I haven't seen, like I said, I've seen chunks of Chappie, but I've never seen District 9. That's post-apocalyptic stuff. It's right up my alley. I'm not sure why I haven't watched it. Earth 2 was another planet. Terra Nova was time travel back to prehistoric Earth to save civilization. Okay, I have not seen Terra Nova. Definitely have not seen that. But Earth 2, I really enjoyed. It's one of those. I wish they would give. It's like Firefly. I wish they would give. I'm looking up Terra Nova now. I wish they would give these shows. Oh, I vaguely remember that. No, I don't think I saw that. Who is that actor? Who's that main dude right there? I gotta kill the sound or I'll kill the stream. This looks vaguely familiar. You know, maybe I did watch chunks of this, and I think I saw some of this. Oh, check it out. Ah, very cool. I love post-apocalyptic stuff, or in this case, pre-apocalyptic stuff. Is that what that is? Let's see. I knew it had someone from Highlander in it. There you go. Earth 2, yes, they landed on the wrong planet. Show off that box again. Clancy Brown. Wait, what happened? Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. Killer Tomatoes sauce. Really? Killer Tomatoes had George Clooney in it? It's got my favorite scene of all time in it because there's a guy, he infiltrates the giant tomato camp, and he's got like his tomato hat on, and a tomato around his body, and like, I think that's it. So his legs and arms are sticking out, and he's sitting around a bonfire with all of the other, a bunch of tomatoes, and then they're eating hamburgers. And then he says, "Pass the ketchup," and then he looks at the film because he knows he's going to die now. It's just a great scene. It's so funny. Earth 2 had Tim Curry. Settlers went to a planet to set up colonies. It was filmed in northern New Mexico. I love New Mexico. I want to move back to. I've never lived in New Mexico. I want to go back to it. Clancy Brown was in the movie with Sean Penn. Was that it? I love Sean Penn. What has he been in? I'm not sure who Clancy Brown is. You guys keep mentioning this guy. Who is this feller? Oh, yeah. That's the guy from Highlander. Yeah. I love him. He was in that Western that just came out that I love. That's how you know if Christopher Lambert was in a movie other than Highlander. 1, was it a sci-fi or fantasy movie? 2, was it bad? If yes to both, then yes, Christopher Lambert was in it. Poor Christopher Lambert. I wonder whatever happened to sword and sorcery influences on TTRPG. Seems like only niche games resemble it. Yeah, it really, I think that, I'm not even sure we could find many movies that kind of portray what we do at the table. You know what I mean? There's aspects of what we do at many of them. I think that's one reason that someone mentioned earlier, if you're watching Kingdom of Heaven, the first section of it, you really feel like you're in a really good RPG movie. But they wreck that pretty quick. Not in a bad, I mean in a bad way for the characters, but not in a bad way for the movie. The movie is a fantastic movie. But they wreck this kind of RPG feeling about it. I think Highlander probably is a really good one. The first Highlander is a really good one for RPGs. But today, yeah, there's very little that... Even the D&D movies, I think... I'm not a big fan of the D&D movies. I hate to say that, but... yeah, it's kind of a hard thing to... It's also a hard thing to capture. I will say that. It's a hard thing to capture a group of people... that are like an elf and a dwarf and a human and a half elf, whatever, half orc, whatever you want, and one couple of women, a couple of men, whatever. It's kind of a hard thing to capture for a broader audience, and for the broader audience to have any kind of connection with. I'm writing a series of short stories now. Where I'm chronicling the journey of 2 characters at the moment, Yorick Gunshoff and Ava the Ranger, and these 2 have met on their journey, and I'm trying to weave, what I'm doing with it is weaving others into this storyline without thrusting them into the storyline, so that you have this kind of, broken whatever. And I think that movies run into this all the time, is trying to get... It's just trying. You start off with this strange group of people that you don't have any idea why these people are friends, and it's just for the broader audience. It makes, good Lord, am I behind on comments? The broader audience can't make a connection, so I'm gonna have to skip forward on some of these comments just to get closer to the end. I spent an afternoon with Harlan Ellison. He wrote The Starlost, but used his pseudonym Cordwainer Bird because the producers changed his scripts too much and ticked him off. You hear that a lot. I think the Tolkien estate wasn't real happy with a lot of the movies. Pandorum is a good one, too. While we were in the Dennis Quaid discussion, Pandorum. I know I've seen that. It's not, but it was the basis for Mass Effect. Andromeda. Watch for Clancy Brown in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Yes, that's the one, really. That's the Western I was thinking of. I absolutely love that movie. Ballad of Buster Scruggs is great. It's a hard watch. Don't go in it thinking it's a comedy. It's not necessarily, there's some funny stuff in it, but it's not necessarily a comedy. So brace yourself with that. It's a very strange movie. It's not a comedy. So I'm going to tell you, funny stuff, not a comedy. Yes, Drill Sergeant Starship Troopers, a movie I enjoyed. Actually, Peter Bradley, our artist, was talking about that today. Movie I enjoyed, but it was not really close to the book. But still a good movie. I love Buster Scruggs' Dice Truck. We do really have some good taste in music or whatever, similar taste. Thoroughly loved it, but it's not a comedy. They're making a new D&D movie. Yes. Yeah, they keep putting up all of these names and actors, and I wish they wouldn't do any of that. I wish that what they would do... So I want to tell you guys, for some of you may remember this. This is going way back. This is part of my issue with a lot of movies, and... the D&D movies seem to fall into this constantly. They try to do so much so fast and thrust all of this stuff on a kind of an unknown. We know what's going on, but so many other people don't that it kind of breaks. And then they always try to do these things that are, I don't know how to describe it. They're not I don't know, whatever. It's just weird. Anyways. So if you think about the Conan movie, and then we got three of them. We got Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer, and the latest one, which I think it's just Conan. I don't know. They're all decent movies. The first one's probably, in my opinion, I enjoyed the most. Hold on, 30 seconds. I enjoyed the first one the most. Now, when they came out, I didn't like the first one, but way back in the dawn of time, in the 1970s, there was a magazine called Savage Sword of Conan. And this magazine, before the first Conan movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger had come out, there was all kind of rumors about what the movie was going to be. And what we ended up getting it's decent, it's a good movie, but the start of the movie is this really cool opening sequence, and then Conan's enslaved for like 20 years at a grain mill or something. The original script that, I'm not sure who put this together, I think it's the Roy, whatever his name is, called for something very different. There was going to be you're going to see this campfire, and you're going to see these people, and you're going to see feet moving around, and a body drop, and then another body drop, and then like another body drop. These were the storyboards they put in Savage Sword of Conan. And then the third or fourth body drops, there's this helmet that rolls across the thing, and it's a small helmet with the fur around here and the two horns, and then this big hand comes down and picks the helmet up, puts it on, and then he's walking away. And that's your introduction to Conan. And I always thought that would be an absolutely fantastic way to start that movie. We just dispense, just like Robert E. Howard did. We dispense with all of the story, the exposition. We don't need any of that. This is Conan the Barbarian. Go. But they didn't do that. They gave us a bunch of exposition, so we will have what these guys are. And I think that in the D&D movies, in our RPG genres, too frequently they try to dispense with the exposition in a way that doesn't work at all, or they try to put exposition in there that doesn't make any sense, because we don't know what a dwarf is or an elf is. I mean, we do, but so many viewers don't. And so I think D&D movies I think they're insanely difficult to make, because you got to get a broader audience. You can't just get to D&D people. These things are gigantic, hugely expensive. So you got to push that envelope somehow. So I think they're very challenging. I think we've had like three or four of them, I guess. Some of them are okay. Yeah, the writer of the SST never read beyond the first chapter. May the Schwartz be with you. The 2007 Conan the Barbarian film was poorly received, but it was way more true to the book than either Arnold film. I love them all. Yeah, I think I enjoyed them all. In retrospect, the second was my least favorite. I wish they would quit doing end of world stuff. That's what I think. That's part of my problem with a lot of fantasy movies. It's just always got to be the end of the world, and our hero has to save the world. The world's not going to end every 15 minutes. Let's just dispense with that, and let's just have Conan or whoever fight this guy and kill this guy, and then move on. What is it? The people of the Black Circle, and they're just wizards. And it's like 10 wizards. He just fights these wizards. They're not conquering the world. I think they're kidnapping someone or something. Just do that. The Witcher, that TV show, The Witcher, kind of falls into that. It does that well. He's not saving the world. He's just doing these jobs. These are the jobs he's hired to do, and he does them. So I think that's pretty good along those lines. Princess Bride is a fantastic movie. I heard they're going to remake it, which I wish they wouldn't. Absolutely love Princess Bride. I watched the AFK series recently, built for gamers. I haven't seen that. I have tons of Savage Sword Conan comics. They were fantastic. They were good comic books. Yep. Very, very, very good. It kind of petered off in the end, but it was very good. Probably because at least the Arnold movies used a recognizable villain. Princess Bride is a classic. Savage Sword is mainly a black and white comic, which is where they lost me a bit as a kid. Yeah, it definitely was black and white. SC, yes, blah, blah, blah. Roy Thomas, there you go. Good stuff, good stuff. Iocane powder. Yeah, so iocane powders for the Princess Bride. For those of you who are a little bit younger, now check out the Princess Bride. It's a very fun fairy tale-esque movie. It's got some classic lines. What does he say? Why did you tell me you had a wheelbarrow? It's just an absolutely great movie. Raiders of the Lost Ark, fantastic movie. Yes, there's actually Eat to Serve It. That's a perfect example of a movie with fantastic exposition and beginning, because you got everything you needed to know about Indiana Jones in the first 10 minutes of that movie. Everything is laid out, from him going in there doing the little gold thing to him talking to the professors and the army guy and the Ark, or whatever. He didn't get the Ark. Whatever he got there, does whatever. He gets hired by the army guys, whatever. That is brilliant exposition. It's action-oriented exposition. It's actually the kind of exposition that I tell in my GM's Tricks of the Trade. I push for young, new CKs to do. Start off with some kind of action. Start off with something that grabs your viewer and tells your viewer who your characters are without having to explain who your characters are. And I think that's part of the issue with so many movies and stories. And I'm not fault. It's hard. It is not hard to do. Dialogue like that is extremely difficult to do. And the actors have to carry it off, and the directors. I mean, there's so many moving parts in making these things, and I'm not faulting anybody for anything. But when you've got really exceptionally good exposition, it's exposition that doesn't make you stop and listen to someone explain the plot that's going on. And that Indiana Jones mastered that beautifully. Once Upon a Time in the West, amazing opening, great movie. There's a fantastic opening to that movie. The Manchurian Candidate. In my opinion, the core of a D&D movie should be the relationship between the players and the game, because it's a game and not stupid references to the universe. References are surface level and aren't meaningful. See, I think that it should be like Lord of the Rings. There should be no external references to anything. If you want just a movie that's kind of mirrors the game that we play, I would like to see it's just 5 people, comrades, that are going on a dungeon crawl or whatever it is. That's what I'd like to see. Like Tomb Raider. I mean, Tomb Raider is essentially that, right? She just needed 4 extra people with her. Let's see, yo, Steve, you're on my TV. Twitchy DM, is that? There you go. Is that good? I'm not sure if that's good. Inconceivable. Yep, that's Princess Bride. Agreed, I've been saying that for decades. It kind of already exists in the game, Darkness Rising. The Witcher series does a good job at capturing the D&D. I think it does. I think that, like I said, if you haven't got into The Witcher, just watch it. I warmed to it by episode 2 or 3 or something. I'd warmed to it quite a bit. I will say this quite openly. I'm a very harsh judge when it comes to, I can watch just about any kind of science fiction movie, any kind of fantasy movie, and my suspension of disbelief is great. But as soon as you say to me, this is a D&D movie, this is a D&D, or CNC, whatever your game is. This is a movie that's this hobby that I've played for 50 years, or 40, whatever the hell it is, and now that I've been publishing for 20, and my whole brain, the chemistry of my brain goes, I actually devote more than 10% to it. I devote like 12% to it. I stop breathing a little bit, because I have preconceived notions about the game, obviously, we all do, and I want the movie to kind of capture minimally the spirit of what I feel is at the table. So I'm a much harsher judge on a movie that pitches itself as a D&D movie than I am any other movie. The difference is it needs real money behind it, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, have you ever compared Indy to James Bond? They are very much alike, but everything that goes right for Bond goes wrong for Indy. I'm not a huge... I've watched almost every James Bond movie, but I'm not it's like with Star Wars and Star Trek. I love them, I thoroughly enjoy them, but I don't rush to the film. I'm not that kind of fan that super enjoys them, for that, it's like Aliens, Ridley Scott, any kind of Ridley Scott movie. I'm running to the, to the movie theater to get there. But the Bond movies are cool. They're a lot of fun. That's an interesting comparison between Bond and Indiana Jones. I'd never made that connection. That's a very interesting comparison because they're sort of the same, right? It's the same kind of hero investigating this, that, and the other, and all the stuff that goes wrong, and everything goes wrong for Indy, and Bond manages to come through it with his, his coat pressed and his tie all on, and Indiana Jones, he does not. He does not. We're doing another raffle, I guess. Yep, Tim is talking to me over here, and I'm not listening. So we are doing a raffle for a $50 coupon in the store. So enter exclamation mark raffle to get yourself thrown in there. Oh, wow. Good Lord. It's almost closing time. If you haven't, please give us a follow. We sure appreciate it. We're going to be here all week doing Twitch stuff, jibber-jabbering about stuff. Tomorrow's show, we're not sure when it is. You can check the schedule. But tomorrow's show, we're going to be talking about the world of Erd and the original players who sat at my table back in 1985 through 2006, and from all of their myriad adventures that they had, and it was a lot, we created, I don't know what the book is. We created the Codex of Erd, the world of Erd, which we've been publishing since the year 2000. So definitely join us for that tomorrow. We'll do more giveaways and all that business, but please give us a follow if you have not tonight. One of my favorite movies is The Wind of the Lion. Wind of the Lion, not D&D related, but another John... Okay, so The Wind of the Lion. Northern Africa. Is it the guy who played Zorba the Greek? Is that right, Vic Danger? I think that's who you're talking about. Very good movie. Teddy Roosevelt. Is that right? Teddy Roosevelt is president, and the Arab chief, the Arab Sultan? No, he's a chief? I'm not sure. He kidnaps, captures, whatever you want to call it. I don't think he kidnaps her, he captures her. An American, and the whole thing is her interactions with him. I think that's the movie that you're talking about. That's a good movie. Simple fact, new girlfriend said she didn't like fantasy films, asked what she had seen. It was almost nothing, showed her The Princess Bride. Now she likes fantasy films and is in love with me. Try it for yourself. Yeah, The Princess Bride is a great movie, and it's a great movie to introduce us, certainly someone who likes that type of, who doesn't like all the violence and Conan's chopping heads off and stuff. It's a good flip. The original Clash of the Titans, that was very good. Sounds like the perfect pitches for Innsmeet Studios. Just saying, yes, it does. Tim and I are working on that. We're working on that very hard. We got some meetings, so we're trying, and I'm looking to turn Yurik and Ava into something more. That's kind of what we're working on now. One of the many things that we're working on. Anyone remember the opening credits to Jack Reacher? Tom Cruise presents a Tom Cruise film starring... There you go. Well, not a sword and sorcery movie per se. I always thought the Mummy remake with Brendan Fraser did a good job of capturing the feel of a tabletop RPG game. At the beginning, they were basically a party raiding a tomb for fat. That's actually good. I hadn't thought about that in forever. I love those movies. I didn't see the Tom Cruise Mummy. It looks good. But Brendan Fraser did a great job in those movies. And you're right, they kind of captured that because it's him and it's not his sister, someone's sister. That dude and that dude's sister. Those are good movies. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Make those money moves. There you go. No, but Steve, if it's just a fantasy film, why even bother calling it Dungeons and Dragons? You might as well call it Swords in the Woods. I'm not talking about a movie that points out that it's about a game, but a movie that focuses on the people who play the games. Oh, interesting. So what you're talking about is... So there's a great movie, strongly recommend it, can't remember the title. It's a biop of, but it's a movie of Robert E. Howard. And the whole world, something. A fantastic movie that is a story about Robert E. Howard and his life. Now, I would watch... Now, you're talking about something... If that's what you're talking about about something different. I've long since pushed and I'm out of the circle, but pushed the Gygax estate to not make a movie that transposes Gygax and people in a fantasy world, but that tells a story about Gary Gygax himself. I had many conversations with him about his youth and where his inspiration came from, and he had these great stories. Sadly, I didn't record them. I wish that I had. But he had these great stories about all this, where a lot of the influences came from. And to capture that in film would be, to me, absolutely fantastic. or to make a film like I think you're talking about, where you gather the players and you give the movie's about the players and not the game itself. I don't personally, and this is everybody's things with their things. I don't personally like movies that switch from one reality to another. From here I'm sitting at the table. Now, Darkness Rising it gets a pass because it's a hilarious comedy movie. But if I'm watching a fantasy movie, I want it to be, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons or RPG related, whatever. I want it to be based in that milieu. I don't want to see people sitting at a table drinking a Dr. Pepper. It's just going to make me want a Dr. Pepper. As you start to wind down tonight, be sure to join the rest of us this week. Blah, blah, blah. It's not the years, it's the miles. There you go. Let's see. Short CNC movies, 10 to 15 minutes. Part 3, hopefully. We got the 2 at the end, and there's another one. But yeah, we got something going on. Hopefully. Hawk the Slayer was the best of my time. You had to stay up late and watch it after the news, the CBS late night movie. Yep, Peter Bradley loves Hawk the Slayer. It's his favorite, absolute favorite. Remember the castles? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I was not amused with that. How's it going, Kyle? How's it going, Kyle Voigt? How you doing, man? Thanks for you've joined us kind of late. We're about to wind down, but glad you could jump in. Let's see, Sean Connery, North African burner. Yes, Burner. Yeah, was Sean Connery in that? I thought it was the guy who played Zorba the Greek. I can't remember anything, man. The Wind and the Lion. Oh man, it's just suddenly brain overload. There's a comedy with Candice Bergman, something, and she did a movie. Is that what you're talking about? Bergman. Okay, no, is it Bergen? No idea. Yes, it's Candice Bergen. All right, we're getting there. Let's see. Let's get to her filmography. Come on. Murphy Brown was the show. I was trying to remember. Maybe I'm on crack. The Wind and the Lion. Yeah. Okay. If you make a CNC movie, please cast Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond as the lead. Richard Hammond, there you go. The Shores of Tripoli line from the Marine Corps anthem comes from that incident. Yes, it does, actually. I had completely forgotten about it. So it's Sean Connery. I thought it was whoever played Zorba the Greek, that actor. Anthony Quinn? No, can't be Anthony Quinn. Shit, I can't remember anybody. Don't see the Tom Cruise one. The Tom Cruise mummy? Okay. Some of it looked kind of cool. I watched some of it on YouTube where he's fighting the mummy, I think. Yeah, that was the Tom Cruise one. It looked kind of cool. Jack Reacher is being rebooted as a series and recast. There you go. I see somebody won. Who won? Somebody? I'm not sure who won. Someone did. Doc Shoulder won. Very good. Congratulations, Doc Shoulder. It took me forever to read that. I'm always available for consultation for movie adaptations. There you go. I'll give you a shout. We got stuff that, well, we're not working on a movie yet, but we got stuff that we're working on. And we're at the beginning stages, so there you go. Ulysses, The Odyssey, and Jason the Argonauts are all great movies. Of course, the Ray Harryhausen movies are amazing. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Ray Harryhausen. The skeleton scene in, what is that? See, the Argonauts? Yeah, the skeleton scene in the Argonauts. Classic. Absolutely classic. And it held. I think it holds up to today. I really do. The Whole Wide World was a wonderful film about Howard. Yeah, sadly, most people never. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie, and it's a great biop. And I would love to see something done like that on Gary Gygax. Absolutely love it. What do you mean you don't jump on a roller coaster and wind up in another realm? There you go. You want it immersive, not transversive. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what transversive means. I know what immersive means. Now, basically, when I want a film that's on a fantasy thing, I want it to be believable on a certain level. And that's where so many D&D movies lose me almost immediately. And they get into this weird, they try to do the D&D tropes that I personally don't care for. And I don't want to take away from anybody's love of movies. But for me, the best D&D movie isn't D&D, it's Mystery Man. Mystery Man was a cool movie. That's the superheroes, right? I believe that's one. Turns out the best D&D movie was The Friends We Made Along the Way. There you go. That's your biopic right there. Steve, you are thinking of Anthony Quinn in Lawrence of Arabia, played Otto Atai. Okay, I've got those two completely transposed in my head. I know Wind in the Lion. I remember some scenes from it, but you're right. I've completely layered those in my head. It's been a couple of years since I watched those. Tom Cruise Mummy was okay. It was part of the studio plan to relaunch the classic horror characters. That didn't work apparently. We need to start a write-in campaign. Nick Jonas has the next go in the Cimmerian. There you go. Our staying warm over there, Tim. A skeleton scene. Kill, kill, kill. Kill them all. It's just a great thing. It's just a great scene when he throws the acorns. I mean, he throws something on the ground. I can't remember now. And they summon, turn into. I don't know what happens. Something happens. They become skeletons. Yeah, and it's awesome. And then the battle is awesome. The sound, I remember very vividly the sound in the Argonauts between the skeletons and whoever. I remember it. And for me, I don't know about you guys, Dragon's Teeth. There you go. For me, and this is why movies like Aliens are so, and there's so many of these Ridley Scott films are so, I don't know, they leave such an impression, because when I'm watching it, I can remember these grandiose cinematic moments, and it paints this picture that I can take that imagery and immediately thrust it into my RPG world, whether I'm running the World of Air that we publish, or just a game. I can take it and run with it. That's the stuff that, for me, is so memorable and so cool about movies. And frequently with fantasy movies, they get caught up, some of them, probably about half of them, get caught up in the explosions and the effect of spells or whatever it is they're trying to do. And then they lose me en route. And a perfect example is, and it's a good movie, I enjoyed the movie, don't get me wrong, but we're going to mix them up. So Hansel and Gretel, the action movie, not Gretel and Hansel, but Hansel and Gretel, because it's got the crossbow scene in it where Gretel is shooting at the witch, and she's like da, 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 just shooting. It's a machine gun, and then Hansel he's clearly got a shotgun, and it's 1600 or something, 1550, whatever it is. So the movie's an action movie. It's fun. It's a fun movie. It's a blast to watch, but as opposed to Gretel and Hansel, which came out last year, is a wholly different thing. It's this tapestry of colors and emotions that you're watching that, for me, I like to take that and bring that to the table. It's easy to bring action to the table, clearly. There's a gazillion monsters, there's armor classes and swords and damage, and we've got all that covered. But what we don't have covered is how to bring that tapestry of emotion to the table, and that for me is what I kind of want to do, and that's why I love Ridley Scott movies and so many of these other movies that we've talked about. And that skeleton scene in the Argonauts is a perfect scene, because there's no bright colors and bright flashes. There's nothing other than he throws these Hydra's teeth or whatever, the dragon's teeth on the ground, and within a moment or so they have transformed magically into skeletons, and before you've even realized what's happening, there's a sword fight going on with these weird skeletons, and it's awesome. And that's kind of how at the end of the day is what Gary and I were arguing about, and I have to defer to him to this, because I think in the end he was kind of right. The original King Kong compared to Peter Jackson's King Kong, there's nothing in the original that's explosions and over the top and all of that stuff, whereas in the Peter Jackson remake, we've got the swamp scene that's just absolutely crazy, and then we've got the insect scene that's mind-jarring, and then we got the dinosaur stampede scene. All of which were unnecessary for the story, but really cool to watch. I really enjoyed them. But to get to evocative emotion, all of that stuff, you didn't need any of that. So it's just kind of a difference in movie making, and I don't. One's not any better than the other. It's what, for me as a viewer, it's what I'm in the mood for. I don't sit down, if I'm in the mood for some crazy action, I am not going to watch Gretel and Hansel. That's nuts. It's taken me 6 months to get into watching the Bly thing, the Haunting of Bly Manor, or whatever it is, because I was waiting to be in the mood for it. I've been much more in the mood for action lately, just head chopping off, gun shooting, Mad Max type action. So I've been watching a lot of that. But I dived into Bly because I got in the mood. The mood struck me. So I think for me, I'm very particular on what I watch when I watch. I will watch almost anything. There's very few movies that I will not sit down and watch, because I enjoy them. So I just, the good, the bad, it doesn't matter. But I cater to myself when I'm in the mood to do stuff, and that's why you'll hear me say things on my streams that you'll suggest a movie, I'll say I'm going to watch that, but it might be 6 months before I do it. So I'm waiting for the movie. So it's not so much I think that movies are good or movies are bad. It's how we watch them, it's how we sit down and enjoy them. You can, if you're in the right mood, pretty much enjoy anything. Let's see, even the 80s remake of King Kong had a lot of flash. It was okay. I enjoyed it. Is that Kurt Russell? I can't remember who's in that. There's someone I know is in that one. It's a good movie. But I really enjoyed... King Kong is kind of a special movie, a special thing for me. I really enjoyed the original and the Peter Jackson one I enjoyed too. Because I thought the conflict scenes in the end were very cool. The Willow sequel, this is going to be... I hate to say this, but I didn't enjoy Willow when it came out. It was too cutesy for me. It had so many elements of a badass fantasy movie. I mean, Mad Mardigan, the two-headed dragon was badass. That fight at the castle was really cool. But the rest of it was very cute. And if we're going to plunge into a fairy tale, for me, if I'm going to plunge into a fairy tale, I really want it to not be cute. I want it to be deadly or dangerous. And that's what, to me, the Legend movie was. It's deadly. Legend is deadly. It's a dangerous world to be in. Whereas Willow was a more cute world to be in. Good movie, though. Have you read the book Starship by Brian Atlas? I have not read that. Let's see. If you're in the right mood, you can enjoy almost anything. Dr. Pepper's new slogan. There you go. Just know what your mood is. Don't sit down and watch something if you're not in the mood to watch it. I'm actually pretty ferocious about that. People are like, let's watch this. No, I don't want to watch it. Because if I watch it and I'm not in the mood to watch it, it's going to ruin it. And I'm going to sit there and be mad. And then I'm going to start picking it apart for no reason. And then later, what could have been a really good show, The Witcher is a perfect example of that. Everyone was telling me to watch The Witcher. And I didn't want to watch it. I wasn't in the mood to watch it. And I didn't. And I waited like 4 or 5 months. And then I finally, I thought, I want to watch this thing. I'm kind of in the mood for some action, some good fantasy action. I like that actor, whoever that actor is. Is that Superman, right? And so I watched it. And the first one was okay. And the second one was good. The same thing with that. I had the same experience with the Last Kingdom. I didn't want to watch it. It looked like it was a knockoff of Viking, and I wasn't going to enjoy it. But I finally when I was finally in the mood to watch some historical fiction, I watched it and thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, just make sure you're in the mood to watch it. Don't let anyone peer pressure you into watching a movie you don't want to watch. That's the lesson from today's stream. Love the Islanders and the Peter Jackson King Kong. Felt very... Yes, that's actually great. No, that's a perfect example or description of those things. That part I loved. I enjoyed all of the over-the-top crap in the swamp and the stampede and all that crap. It was cool. But it was an action movie. It was like the shotgun and the crossbow. But that opening sequence was badass. The closing sequences were badass. It was just a good... the woman, I can't remember who played the blonde girl who King Kong falls in love with. I loved her, and I loved Jack Black. He can do almost no wrong in my book. Love him to death. Steve, do you like Labyrinth and Goonies? Loved Goonies. Never saw Labyrinth. I need to see it. I don't know why I didn't see it. And there's another one, Pan's Labyrinth. I actually almost watched the other night. It's been on my list for years. But that's going to be one I'm going to have to be super in the mood for. I think Labyrinth I didn't watch. Isn't that a... Okay, so here's... I'm going to make a sin here in the gaming world. I never enjoyed, and I didn't watch, but a couple episodes, Dark Crystal. Is that the... Not Dark City, but Dark Crystal. Is that the Jim Henson Muppet thing? I just didn't like the Muppet thing. I didn't watch the Muppets, and I didn't like Dark Crystal, and I think that Labyrinth had a lot of Muppets in it, I think. I did watch The Old Guard. That was a lot of fun. That was very cool. Dragon Slayer 1981, fantastic movies. I actually even like Peter Minicle. I love that movie. Legend question, what exactly was the living throne in Darkness's chambers? The chair was the one that had the black face with the green eyes. Was that Darkness's father? Pazazu. That I don't know. That's interesting. That's one of my favorite scene in that movie is when his hoof comes through the mirror and steps upon the ground. The sound, the crunching of the glass, not glass, but dust or whatever it is, rocks. And that sequence when darkness comes through the mirror, absolutely breathtaking sequence. If you have not seen Legend, go watch Legend. All kinds of stuff in that. It's just so crazy inspirational. It's absolutely mind-numbing. Pan's or Fawn's Labyrinth, thing, blah, 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 David Bowie. Yeah, Dark Crystal had a lot of annoying voices. I'm not a big Muppet fan. I know that's not nice to say. Did you know that the scene with the bugs was an homage to a lost scene from the original 1933 film, which was never completed and was scrapped before it was... Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. You really get into the movies. You're like a buddy of mine. He reads all of this stuff. Matt Golden, actually, who you'll meet tomorrow night. Yeah, Labyrinth is a Henson production. That's what I was thinking. Pan's Labyrinth is gut-wrenching. See, that I keep hearing all of that stuff, and I need to watch it. I love Muppets Take on Big Man. There you go, Tim. Did you manage to watch a TV series called The Outpost? Is it really good? It is really good. The Outpost. I don't think I've seen that. That reminded me of the Sean Connery movie where he's on a planet. Nope. He's on a moon around Saturn. What the hell's that called? The Outpost. I'll check it out. Pete the Dragon, Walt Disney. Pan's Labyrinth is a great story, but it has English subtitles. Have to be in the mood to read a movie. Yeah, that I didn't know that. Interestingly enough, it's just going to be one of those. It's going to strike me one night. I want to watch some kind of fairy tale, dark fairy tale, and I'll dive into it. That's how that'll play out. I like The Outpost, but CW tends to destroy concepts. You talking about Legend, the one with Will Smith? No, Legend, the Tom Cruise movie. So I can call that up. I forgot Will Smith did the vampire movie. That was a fun movie. No, it's not Legend. It's Legend. I clearly cannot operate a type board. Jesus Christ, man, I need to quit. I need to call it today. So it's this guy here. Let's put that guy in there. That's the movie we're referring to. Fantastic movie, but it's a fairy tale. Let's see. Wear a seatbelt when you watch Pan's Labyrinth. It's going to be rough, extreme violence, children in danger, hideous monsters, and brutal scenes. Interesting. It's good to know. I really don't enjoy films that show violence towards women and children. I really don't. I get it as a side whatever, but if they get particularly too graphic with that, I usually tone out. I just don't enjoy it. I mean, I understand that it's used as a tool to further a story or whatever. I get all of that stuff. I'm not an idiot, and I'm not a softie or whatever. I don't particularly enjoy it, especially children. I have gotten into some movies recently, revenge flicks, where women get beaten up or something to go kill some people. They're insanely violent. So, and I enjoy really insanely violent type board. Yeah. What is it? Keyboard. I really enjoy very violent movies. But I have to watch them by myself because no one else does. No one else around here does. Made me watch it. Let's see. Omega Man, Chuck Heston, I Am Legend was a Tim Matheson. Yeah. Story originally done by Vincent Price in Last Man on Earth. Then Omega Man with Charlton Heston. Then Will Smith. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. That's very cool. Huge Charlie Heston fan. Love that guy. That's okay. I like to crawl. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of crawl. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie. The Tooth Fairy in the movie is creepy. Was it Legends Dark Lord that was the inspiration for? Absolutely. That's probably movie-wise, and we're going to dive into this more tomorrow. Movie-wise, Legend has the greatest impact on the world of Aaron, bar none. That movie, when I watched that, and of course it's a Ridley Scott film, when I watched that, it just created this images, just an imagery that stayed with me forever and a day. It's still with me today. I watch the movie about every 3 years or so, but I don't even need to. I can kind of recount it. It's such a beautiful film. But there's huge influences in the world of Aaron, Unklar being the number one. I felt that Scott had captured the devil like nobody else had. And Timothy, whatever his name is, his voice was perfect. Everything about the movie to me is, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but to me it's just a perfect movie. But absolutely Dark Light. Huge inspiration. Have you seen The Keep, Killing Nazis in a Transylvania Castle? Yes. I have seen. That's a lot of fun. What's the Nazis on the Moon movie, too? That was a lot of fun. I guess I came too late for any of the free items. Yeah, sorry, Zelensky. They blasted it. Actually, we gotta wind down. It's about time. And Tabletop Santa, it's Steven. Hey, Tabletop, how's it going? I got another TikTok up today. I'm following you on TikTok. Love your TikToks over there. Finally got fourth one up or something. If you see a Charlton Heston fan, please tell him you have seen The Whirlwind. Oh my God. Okay, so we got to wind down, but I'm going to say right now, Antiquitas 2004 wins the day because The Warlord, Charlton Heston, what is it, 1960s movie probably? If you haven't seen it, I have no idea where you're going to find it. Find it, watch it. It is a very realistic I think. Iron Sky, that's the Nazis in space. A very realistic Tim Curry, yeah, that's the guy from Legend. A portrayal of a very tiny medieval battle. And it's what I was talking about earlier. When they make a D&D movie, I wish they would just get away from doing the end of the world. The end of the world is always the world's ending. We get enough of that. That's every 15 minutes, the world's going to end. It's not the way it actually plays out. The Warlord is a movie that Charlton Heston plays a knight who inherits a castle and some Vikings attack it. 2 hours of battle later and interaction. Fantastic movie. The tower that he defends is very small. It's not a King Arthurian, explosions, flying, trebuchet crap. It's just a medieval castle. Most of those castles, I've poked around Germany and France, a little bit in England. Most of those castles are not, sprawling, huge edifices, like the Crack de Chevaliers in Syria. They're small keeps, towers, moat, bailey castles. And that's essentially what this is on the coast. And the Vikings attack it. And Charlton Heston and his 10 or 12 men-at-arms defend it. The Warlord is an absolutely fantastic movie. Check it out if you can find it. Charlton Heston's a little bit older. The pagans are super pagan-y in Warlord. I'm not sure about that. I haven't seen it in years. I remembered it's so localized. It's like there's TV show Vikings. If you haven't seen that, definitely watch Vikings. It's very localized. It's not this event that causes the world is going to end or the king is going to lose his throne or whatever. It's 1965. There you go. Most of history in the Middle Ages is not that. It's very small interactions between lords and barons and count whatever. Most of it doesn't ever reach the history books. But so the Warlord, absolutely fantastic movie. But now it's 1965, so don't look for shooting crossbows and flying trebuchet stuff and all that stuff and whatever, dragons and blah blah blah. Going to be working on the Red Dragon from the Epic Encounters this Saturday. Very cool. Keep them stakes low, kids. It's just a good movie. Check it out. Well, I think that's about it. I think we're a little bit over, but I thank you all for showing up. This has been a blast. We're going to have to do this more often. And I've got a laundry list of films to go check out and TV shows, which is great. It's what I love. Actually, I really like about Twitch, because we can communicate and I can get some great ideas. I'm always looking for new stuff to look at for inspiration for the game that we create, and so that we can jibber jabber and all that stuff. So tomorrow night, join us. It's going to be me, Mac, Golden, Todd Gray, Sarah Clem, and we're going to be talking about the world of Aird and the characters that wove into the story arc of all of that mess and all of the influences for Aird and how these guys dove into it and helped me create all of this stuff, inspired me at the table, and blah, 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 blah. I don't know what time it is. Check the schedule. So, did Tim put that up? He did not. All right, so at any rate, thank you all for showing up. This was a blast. I surely do appreciate it. I am going to go have a cheeseburger, I think. And check us out. We're all over the place. TikTok, Patreon, Facebook, blah, 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 blah. Just at the website. You know where it is. Yes, cheeseburger. Yes, Tabletop Santa. I've got a cheeseburger. I'm pretty sure it's upstairs. I'm going to dive into it in about 5 minutes. I'm going to have Dr. Pepper and a cheeseburger. So, all right. And everybody, follow Tabletop Santa on TikTok. Lots of fun over there. He's got some great videos up. Check all that stuff out. Love the jibber jabber. There we go. All right, everybody, you have a great evening. And please join us tomorrow. We'll be back talking again about good Lord knows what. All right, everybody. Take care.